Chapter 50:14. The two-strength realm cultivator was stunned. He did not expect Zi Chen to order him to get the energy. Gavin's eyes changed slightly, but he did not say anything. What are you waiting for? Zi Chen glared at him. The two-strength realm cultivator had no choice but to walk toward Gavin. Gavin glanced at him and gave him the energy. The two-strength realm cultivators walked over and gave the energy to Zi Chen. This was to prevent Gavin from attacking him at close range. Of course, Zi Chen was not afraid. He just did not want to expose too much too early. When Zi Chen put away the energy, he left two for the two-strength realm cultivators. The two-strength realm cultivator was stunned. He immediately thanked Gavin and stepped back. Gavin's eyes flashed with a strange light, but he did not say anything. Now that his life was saved, it was time to do other things. The others looked at Zi Chen with envy, especially when they saw the crystals. They did not know where he found a basket of crystals and used them to ride on Gavin's head. Gavin, who was at 3-strength realm, was the undisputed #1 person here. His job was the most profitable. Zi Chen had become his master. He did not need to do anything in the future and would receive an endless supply of extreme energy. After giving the energy to Zi Chen, Gavin took Zi Chen to find a place to stay. It was relatively close to the city. According to Gavin, even if the law-breaking beast attacked, there would be people outside to hold it off. During this time, Gavin occasionally glanced behind Zi Chen. There were many killing intent crystals that were emitting a bright light. Do you want them? Zi Chen glanced at Gavin. No, no. Gavin shook his head. Naturally, he did not dare to admit it. Zi Chen returned to his room and began to cultivate. He knew that powerful combat power was the foundation of everything. That night, there was a knock on the door. Miao Pengfei walked in. The room was very big. Zi Chen walked out and looked at Miao Pengfei. He asked, "No one gave you a hard time, right?" Miao Pengfei shook his head and said, "No, everyone knows that we came back together. After seeing me, they were quite polite." Miao Pengfei closed the door and sat down beside Zi Chen. I asked about the situation here. There are at least dozens of places like this. With Pofa City as the center, all cultivators below the second force realm were gathered here. Only those who have reached the 3 strengths realm are qualified to enter Shattering Law City. Zi Chen listened silently. He took out 50 strands of strength and placed them on the table in front of him. This is. Seeing this, Miao Pengfei was shocked and looked at Zi Chen in shock. Take this power and think of a way to leave this place, Zi Chen said in a deep voice. While my deterrence is still present, find another way out. You're leaving? Miao Pengfei asked. Zi Chen had only become the leader today. Zi Chen said, no matter how bad this place is, it's still a place with many rules. Jiao Wen was able to become the strongest person here not only because of his 3 strengths realm strength, but also because of many conflicts of interest. My appearance has disrupted this situation. Zi Chen was very clear about this. After all, he had lived for countless years and had seen too many schemes. He knew very well what Gavin was thinking, but he did not care about his little scheme because Zi Chen had his own ideas as well. So, sooner or later, there will be problems. You have to take advantage of this time, when no one dares to provoke you, to find another way out. Zi Chen gave the power to Miao Pengfei. You leave first, I'll go later. Miao Pengfei hesitated and took the power. The reason why the two of them came back was because the outside world wasn't peaceful, and they didn't have enough extreme energy. So he knew how precious this kind of life item was. Don't contact me for the time being. Taking advantage of the night, Miao Pengfei left. During the day, he had already asked around. As long as it wasn't a large-scale siege, no spell-breaking beasts would dare to come here. After all, there were many people living here. As for the vanishing shadow beasts, they wouldn't appear either. When the sky brightened, Zi Chen walked out of the room with the crystals on his back and strolled around. Everywhere he went, everyone looked at him and seemed to feel that he was different. Zi Chen went to find Jiao Wen. When Jiao Wen saw Zi Chen, he tactfully went up and greeted him. Then, he took out more than 100 streams of energy. Zi Chen put them away calmly, but he was still very surprised. Jiao Wen could get so much energy every day. After accumulating for a long time, it would definitely be a terrifying number. In the next few days, Zi Chen went to find Jiao Wen every day, as if he really treated himself as Jiao Wen's boss. Jiao Wen was very tactful. Every time Zi Chen came, he would take out different amounts of extreme energy, but each time, he would take out more than 100 extreme energy. Even if Zi Chen continuously refined the energy, he wouldn't be able to refine it all in a short time. Of course, every time Zi Chen went to find Jiao Wen, he would bring the basket of killing intent crystals with him. This was also the reason why he was so powerful that he could intimidate everyone. It was the safest to stay by his side. Otherwise, it would be stolen. Every time he passed by, many people would look behind him with strange looks in their eyes. Today, Zi Chen left as usual. A small leader asked, "Sir, are we just going to give him the resources?" Jiao Wen said, "There's no other way. You saw the power of those crystals behind him. It's really terrifying. But no matter what, he's only in the second force state. Can't we?" The small leader wiped his neck. "Forget it. It's not easy for everyone to survive. There's no need to add too many casualties. Sir, you're so kind. Unlike that guy, he killed so many people as soon as he came." Jiao Wen smiled faintly and didn't say anything else. All he had to do was give out some energy and he could survive. Why not? Moreover, if Zi Chen really thought that he had defeated him, he would be courting death. 2 days later, Jiao Wen took the initiative to find Zi Chen and gave the energy to Zi Chen. During this time, he stood outside Zi Chen's room and looked into the room from time to time. Zi Chen was worried that the other party was playing tricks on him, so he withdrew the energy and returned to his room. The killing intent crystals were still there. Jiao Wen left, but he didn't go back. Instead, he went in the direction of shattering Law City. When he arrived outside the city, there was no city gate, only a space-time passage. Jiao Wen didn't go in but waited here. Not everyone was qualified to enter. About 2 hours later, an existence surrounded by 4 different types of energy walked out from inside. "Sir, there's no more energy this time." Looking at the person, Jiao Wen said directly. The person glanced at Jiao Wen and a cold light flashed in his eyes. "Do you want to die?" "Sir, please listen to my explanation." A second realm warrior called Zi Chen came. He carried a basket of crystals on his back, and the crystals contained a terrifying killing intent. After he appeared, he killed many people and stole my position, as well as all the energy I prepared for you. The man's expression suddenly changed and he said, "What did you say?" "That person has the killing intent. P.S. Yesterday, he had a small operation in 2 places. After the anesthetic wore off, the pain was unbearable and he couldn't sit still. He even started to doubt his life. After gritting his teeth and writing 2 new chapters, Lei Wu couldn't write anymore. He felt a little better today." Chapter 50:15. There was no update today, but it would be updated tomorrow. Thunder Marshal was not updated today. Please wait for a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page to get the latest update. Chapter 50:16. Looking at the Lord's sharp eyes, Kevin was startled. He did not know what a killing crystal was. "Is it a killing crystal?" the man asked again, looking anxious. "What's a killing crystal?" Kevin asked in return, confused. The 4th-level man was enraged. His eyes flashed coldly. "Are you messing with me?" "Lord, I really don't know what a killing crystal is." Kevin looked wronged. He then explained the situation of the crystals in detail. "Oh right, that," he wanted to say the name of the spellbreaker, but he realized that the B*TCH did not tell him the exact name because she despised them. "Let's go. Bring me there." The man could not wait. A killing crystal was very important. It was a special crystal that was hard to find and was very precious. He did not expect someone to carry a basket of them to play outside the city. This. Kevin hesitated. The man glanced at him and thought that he was unwilling to lead the way. His eyes turned extremely cold. Kevin felt the murderous intent in the man's eyes and immediately explained, "Don't misunderstand, Lord. It's not that I don't want to bring you there. It's just that if the 2 of us go, we won't be able to return." There was a spellbreaker last time. He did not know the name of the spellbreaker. He could only tell the Lord what the spellbreaker looked like and what happened. Hearing this, the man was enraged. He's just a second level. How dare he attack me? That guy is a bumpkin. He only cares about resources and not people. He already killed a spellbreaker. Kevin reminded him kindly, Lord, this is just a precaution. Kevin obviously did not care about the life or death of this lord. He was even happy to see him killed by Zichen. However, if Zichen killed someone this time, he might be implicated. It would be difficult for him to escape. Therefore, he did not dare to take this risk. Once he attacked, he had to kill. Wait here. The man turned and walked back. When he entered the space tunnel, he took out a token. The token glowed and covered his body. That token was equivalent to a ticket to enter the city. Gavin once had the opportunity to obtain one, but he gave up. Compared to inside, his life outside would be much more comfortable. We need at least 3 to ensure that nothing goes wrong. He calculated in his mind that Zichen would definitely die under the siege of 3/4 strength state martial artists. Not long after, the man came out, but there was only one person beside him. The energy surrounding the other person was also at the 4th strength state. Gavin was stunned when he saw the two of them. Why are you in a daze? Hurry up and lead the way. The man's face was filled with dissatisfaction. My lord, are there only 2 people? 2 people can't deal with a mere second force state? The other party said coldly, cut the crap and lead the way. Kevin had a helpless look on his face. They had never seen Zichen before, so they really didn't know how difficult it was to deal with that guy. If they just went over like this, it would definitely be dangerous. While moving forward, Gavin was thinking about how to deal with Zichen. It would be best if he could think of a way to save his own life. After returning, many people along the way were looking at the 3 of them, but they did not dare to approach. Gavin came to Zichen's residence and shouted, Zichen, come out. There are 2 lords looking for you. They want to ask you some questions. You have to answer them properly. Zichen walked out of the room, carrying the basket of killing intent crystals on his back. He looked around and finally fixed his gaze on the 2 4th strength state martial artists. His gaze paused for a moment, then he immediately cupped his fists at the 2 of them. Show me the crystals behind you. One of the 4th strength state martial artists looked at Zichen. Hearing that, Zichen took out a crystal from behind him and threw it forward. Seeing this, Gavin's face changed drastically, and he had the urge to run away. The crystal in his hand was filled with killing intent, but it did not explode. The other party felt the killing intent crystal and nodded with satisfaction. Not bad, it is indeed a killing intent crystal. Did you get it yourself? Zichen nodded and said, My lord, I was lucky. I found it in the mine, so I brought it back. Your luck is really good. Do you have more? The person who spoke stared straight behind Zichen. What he said was complete nonsense. At this moment, the 2 4th strength state martial artists were not standing together. Gavin was in the other direction. Yes. Zichen put the basket on the ground. They are all here. Seeing this, the other party nodded with satisfaction. Seeing that you are so sensible, I will not pursue the matter of you taking my share. The man who spoke walked forward. In order to show that he had no ill intentions, Zichen took the initiative to step back. The man stepped forward and looked at the shining killing intent crystals with satisfaction. He carried the bamboo basket and turned to leave. Before leaving, he glanced at Gavin. Gavin immediately cupped his fists and bowed to the other party. Zichen retreated into the room. Hearing the other party's words, he should be completely relieved. After all, the other party did not pursue the matter, which meant that he recognized his identity. This was equivalent to using the killing intent crystals to buy his life. However, Zichen, who had retreated into the room, quickly walked to the window in the opposite direction. Swoosh! He leaped out and quickly ran into the distance. Many people saw Zichen, but they did not understand why he ran away in such a sorry state. Why did he not carry the killing intent crystals? Zichen ran away. He is here. Chase him. At this moment, someone shouted in the distance. The man who left with the killing intent crystals heard the shout. He smiled faintly and said, "He is not stupid." He carried the killing intent crystals and walked in the opposite direction. Another person said, "Should we go and kill him?" The other party laughed and said, "Do you need a butcher's knife to kill a chicken? Didn't you see Gavin's eyes? He wanted to eat that kid." The 2-4 strength realm cultivators had left. It was too easy for Gavin and his many subordinates to kill Zichen. Zichen ran in the opposite direction, so he did not have to worry about the 2-4 strength realm cultivators catching up. The reason why he did not kill them directly was because the two of them were obviously prepared. At the same time, Zichen did not think that they could kill the two of them if they were prepared. Even if they could, what should he do next? It must be the endless pursuit from Pofa City. This was not what Zichen wanted to see. Relatively speaking, if he gave up the killing intent crystals and only dealt with the 3 strength realm cultivator, it would be much easier. When Gavin called out to him, Zichen guessed that something was wrong and had a plan in mind. "Today, no one needs to work. Follow me to hunt Zichen." Chapter 50:17. Zichen was running frantically in front, and everyone was chasing after him from behind. Everyone had seen how Zichen was flaunting his prowess a few days ago. Kevin would give Zichen a lot of energy every day, so it was natural for him to enjoy the energy. However, without the killing crystal, Zichen had become an ordinary second force realm cultivator. Naturally, he would have to spit out the energy. "Stop right there. Kid, leave the energy and we'll spare your life." Everyone was shouting and yelling as they followed behind. Some of them were just doing it for fun, but there were also some who really wanted to snatch Zichen. While they were chasing, some of them were trying to intercept him from both sides. Zichen was trying his best to escape. As for Miao Pengfei, he had already listened to their advice and left. Gavin followed behind with a few leaders surrounding him. He looked at Zichen, who was running away in a sorry state, with a faint and confident smile on his face. At this moment, he was still the boss of everyone. "You guys, go over there and block him. Go and call the others over. There's no need to work today. Those who catch Zichen will be rewarded with 100 streams of energy. Those who chop off his arm will be rewarded with 10 streams of energy. Those who chop off a leg will be rewarded with 20 streams of energy." Kevin knew how to motivate people, so he did not take any risks. With the generous reward, everyone rushed forward like crazy. This Zichen really doesn't know what's good for him. He actually dares to go against Sir. That guy is so lucky. Without the killing crystal, he's nothing but a fart. It's a pity that such an idiot actually took away thousands of streams of energy over the past few days. The junior leaders behind Gavin were all flattering him. It was obvious that Zichen had become a target of scorn, and the only thing that awaited him was death. Gavin would still be their boss. Thousands of streams of energy. Kevin glanced at the people beside him and said, "That guy is insatiably greedy. During this period, he has already taken nearly 10,000 streams of energy from me. If we can't get the energy back this time, everyone will have to live frugally from now on." "What?" When everyone heard this, their expressions changed. They all looked at Zichen in the distance with shock and greed in their eyes. That was close to 10,000 strands of energy. Zichen was very far away from Gavin at the moment and couldn't hear him at all. If he could, he would definitely curse. It had only been a dozen days, and there were more than 100 strands of energy a day. At most, there were less than 2,000 strands of energy. Where did 10,000 strands of energy come from? What Kevin said was not to arouse the greed of the crowd, but to provide a portion of the amount and find a gap to fill. He was in charge of a lot of people and had to deal with a lot of energy every day. How could there only be 100 or so energy that slipped through the net? Gavin looked at the eager leaders beside him. "Don't say I didn't warn you. I don't care what you're thinking. If you can really get the energy back from Zichen, it's your own ability. But Zichen must die. That's what it means. Don't worry, sir." After receiving the order, they immediately rushed forward. They were all in the second force state and had a group of subordinates. Of course, it was easy to deal with Zichen, who had no killing crystals. Gavin followed behind, walking at a moderate pace. This was the strategy. Not only did he save his life, but he also gained a lot. Zi Chen, who was running away, glanced behind him and found that those people seemed to be on steroids. Not only did they not give up, but they were even more excited. There were so many people. If one of them stepped forward and slashed, Zi Chen would die. Without the killing crystals, Zi Chen could only run. As long as there was no one in front of him, he didn't have to worry about taking out a strand of energy to refine. Anyway, he still had more than 1,000 strands of energy. He didn't have to worry about this consumption. At this moment, his expression suddenly changed. There were people in front of him. There were a total of 5 people. He didn't know if they had coincidentally returned, but when they saw this scene, they immediately blocked his path. Damn it! Zi Chen cursed. He could only change his direction and run forward at a slanted angle. The 5 people also changed their direction. One of them sneered and said, "Kid, stay here." Light flashed in Zi Chen's hand, and more than a dozen strands of energy appeared. "How about we make a deal?" As he spoke, Zi Chen immediately waved his hand. A golden light flashed and the energy flew to the side. The 5 people's eyes immediately lit up. At this moment, someone shouted from behind, "Stop him. He has more than 10,000 strands of energy." More than 10,000 strands of energy? Their expressions changed, and they looked at Zi Chen in disbelief. In front of 10,000 strands of energy, the dozen strands of energy were obviously nothing in their eyes. Their eyes were filled with greed. Immediately, 3 of them ran forward, wanting to stop Zi Chen. However, the other 2 people hesitated. They didn't follow. Instead, they changed their direction and went straight for the energy. Are the 2 of you stupid? You don't want nearly 10,000 strands of energy? Why do you want so little? The person behind shouted. The 2 of them didn't reply. They picked up the energy and split it. Looking at the front, the 3 people rushed forward and blocked Zi Chen. At this moment, Zi Chen took out his bone staff and immediately swung it forward. Infinite golden light burst out. The bone staff fell and scattered rays of light. Before one of the 2 strength-level cultivators could react, the ray of light descended. In an instant, half of his body disappeared. During this time, Zi Chen didn't stop. He rushed forward and there were 2 more wounds on his body. He was attacked by the other 2 people, but his injuries weren't serious. The person who lost half of his body fell down. He screamed like a pig being slaughtered. The other 2 people were stunned. They didn't expect this. At this moment, Zi Chen turned back and swung his bone staff again. Since he chose to attack, there was no reason for him to hold back. Bang! Bang! The short delay allowed the pursuers to close the distance between them and Zi Chen gave the 2 of them 2 more hits. The 2 people fell down. Even though they used their energy to recover, their injuries were too serious. It was impossible to save their lives. The blood-curdling screams caused the hearts of those who heard them to tremble. Those who were nearing Zi Chen all instinctively stopped. The 3 people disappeared in the shrill screams. Their voices lingered for a long time. In the distance, the 2 people who had received more than 10 strands of energy looked at each other and saw the joy in each other's eyes. They weren't greedy. Instead, they had gained something. After killing the 3 people, Zi Chen quickly fled. Because the person in front of him had stopped, the distance between them, which had been closed earlier, had widened again. The others were scared and slowed down. Surround him first, then kill him slowly. The winner will be rewarded with 300 strands of energy. At this moment, Kevin's voice sounded from behind. His eyes were fixed on the bone staff in Zi Chen's hand. His eyes were full of greed. Such a huge reward was worth the risk. No one hesitated and chased after him. Chapter 50:18. There were too many of them. If he wanted to fight them head-on, it would be almost impossible to win. Therefore, Zi Chen kept running to buy time. He planned to make his move at night. As night fell, the surroundings immediately turned dark. The battle cries behind him continued. "Stop! Kid, don't run. Do you dare to fight me? Stop if you can. Watch me finish you with one hand." The shouts behind him continued. Everyone was very excited by the huge reward. After all, They only received 2 strands of energy every day. But this time, Kevin rewarded them with hundreds of strands of energy. It could be said to be a huge reward. During the day, although Zi Chen's attack was shocking, everyone could see that without the killing crystal, he could only kill one person at a time. During this time, as long as they seized the opportunity, each person could kill Zi Chen. There were hundreds of people chasing after Zi Chen. It could even be more. Therefore, no one thought that they were the unlucky ones who would be killed with a single blow. As night fell, some people slowed down because the night was accompanied by intense danger. But there were more people who were not afraid. They were still shouting and yelling excitedly. Kevin was very satisfied with this result. With him leading the group, Zi Chen would definitely die this time. And he was determined to get the bone staff in Zi Chen's hand. In the night, Zi Chen was shrouded in energy. He was as conspicuous as a lighthouse in the night. It was very difficult to lose him. As long as this continued, death was only a matter of time for Zi Chen. Zi Chen glanced behind him. The others were also very conspicuous. If Zi Chen was like a lighthouse, then they were living targets. The night would provide great convenience for Zi Chen. He took a look at his surroundings. Without using his immortal spiritual eye, this place was pitch black and he couldn't see anything. However, this didn't stop him from turning around and giving everyone a surprise attack on this night. Turning his head and continuing to run, Zi Chen's eyes lit up and his vision brightened. Because his back was facing the crowd, no one discovered his immortal spiritual eyes. Zi Chen saw a piece of high ground. He wanted to set up an ambush there. Moving forward quickly, Zi Chen didn't go up the high ground. Instead, he circled to the back of the high ground. His running away, go after him. Zi Chen has disappeared. Everyone, hurry. Don't let him get away. That's right. That's several hundred strands of energy. We can't let him escape. When the people behind saw this, they immediately shouted. Everyone rushed forward crazily, and everyone increased their speed. Shua, shua, shua. Immediately, some people rushed over the high ground. Zi Chen looked at the backs of those people and followed them in a flash. After arriving behind a person, Zi Chen swung the bone staff forward. Following a flash of light, Zi Chen's sneak attack hit the back of a second strength realm expert's head. Buzz. With a flash of light, the other party's head disappeared. His body fell straight down and died in an instant. Here, Zi Chen is here. Immediately, someone cried out in alarm when they saw Zi Chen. At the same time, they quickly retreated. As long as they surrounded him, Zi Chen would definitely die. Therefore, there was no need to fight Zi Chen head-on. Zi Chen flashed forward and swung his bone staff. Following 2 strikes, 2 people who couldn't dodge in time were sent flying. After they landed, they let out blood-curdling screams. It looked like they were about to lose their lives. Zi Chen immediately rushed forward and continued to run. Occasionally, he would turn his head to look behind him to see if there were any other opportunities. This time, Zi Chen killed 3 people in a sneak attack. He couldn't kill everyone at once. That would put himself in a very dangerous situation. He had to find an opportunity to slowly exhaust them. After all, his biggest advantage was his endurance. The energy in his body was his biggest advantage. The second time, Zi Chen used the environment to launch a sneak attack and killed another 3 people. This made the pursuers feel apprehensive. Being able to obtain energy from Zi Chen was great, but losing their lives because of it was something they didn't want to accept. Therefore, they all became more careful. Kevin, who was at the back, noticed this change and was thinking of a good solution. If these people gave up now, it would be very difficult for him to kill Zi Chen. The power of that bone staff was really terrifying. While he coveted it, he was also full of fear. Right now, he just wanted to sit back and enjoy the fruits of others' labor. He wanted to use these people to kill Zi Chen and obtain the bone staff. Quick, Zi Chen is slowing down. At first, some people had already planned to give up. However, at that moment, they noticed that Zi Chen's speed was no longer as fast as before. The distance between the 2 parties was quickly closing. Could he be exhausted? Everyone seemed to see hope and was ready to make a last stand. Zi Chen's eyes lit up when he saw a group of law-breaker beasts. There were dozens of them. This was what he had been waiting for all night. Finally, it had arrived. At that moment, Zi Chen was facing these law-breaker beasts head-on. Naturally, he had to slow down and wait for the others to catch up. The distance between the three parties was getting closer and closer. At that moment, someone finally discovered the law-breaker beasts and immediately exclaimed, "Law-breaker beast. There are law-breaker beasts here." Unfortunately, their eyesight was not good in the dark. By the time they discovered the law-breaker beasts, the two parties had already come into contact. Zi Chen rushed into the midst of the law-breaker beasts, and they followed closely behind. Some of the law-breaker beasts attacked Zi Chen, but more of them went straight for the pursuers behind him. Swoosh! Swoosh! Light flickered under Zi Chen's feet. With the help of the immortal spiritual eye, he dodged several attacks from the law-breaker beasts. At that moment, the others had already rushed over and were fighting with the law-breaker beasts. Zi Chen took the opportunity to turn around and follow the law-breaker beasts forward, taking advantage of the chaos to attack. In an instant, all sorts of roars were heard, and many people retreated in panic. A law-breaker beast pounced on a second realm cultivator. After pouncing on him in an instant, it viciously bit at his neck and snapped it. The second realm cultivator held the energy in his hand, and his body struggled. After a moment, he turned into light and dissipated. This was the first time Zi Chen had seen a law-breaker beast kill someone. Its attacks were very sharp, and the places it bit were almost all vital points. Light flickered all around, and the second realm cultivators died one after another. Zi Chen's body shone with golden light as he wandered among the crowd. Swoosh! A law-breaker beast rushed at him. Zi Chen did not kill it, but used the bone staff in his hand to block, and used the force of the attack to knock it away. These law-breaker beasts were his temporary companions, and Zi Chen did not want to kill any of them. At the same time, Zi Chen attacked with his left hand. Threads crisscrossed and swept past the body of a second realm cultivator. He could not kill law-breaker beasts, but he could kill humans. Wang! Light flashed past, and the opponent's body was immediately disintegrated. He did not even have time to scream. Run! Faced with such a terrifying situation, an unknown existence suddenly yelled out. The others, who were already frightened, immediately began to retreat. A team of hundreds was defeated by dozens of law-breaker beasts and one Zi Chen. When one person retreated, the rest retreated. In an instant, everyone began to run. Chapter 50-19. Everyone began to retreat, each and every one of them terrified. They had an absolute advantage in terms of numbers. However, in the face of these law-breaking beasts and Zi Chen's attack, they were completely defeated. Don't run. Kill him. He's alone. You can totally stop him. Kill those law-breaking beasts first, then kill Zi Chen. Some of the smaller leaders at the back were yelling at the top of their lungs as they watched the fleeing crowd. However, it was useless. The crowd had already scattered and it would be much more difficult to gather again. What the F***ck are you running for? Can't a group of you kill one person? A burly man scolded. However, it was useless. Swoosh! While Zi Chen was dodging, a law-breaking beast launched an attack at him. After dodging, the other party went for the nearest target instead of chasing after Zi Chen. Bang! The bone staff in Zi Chen's hand fell, and a level 2 cultivator was knocked down. Before he could die, a law-breaking beast stepped forward and bit off his head. Zi Chen had formed a tacit understanding with these law-breaking beasts as he rushed forward. He didn't need to kill everyone. As long as he knocked them down, the law-breaking beasts would step forward and kill them. However, these law-breaking beasts didn't seem to be very intelligent. Under such circumstances, several of them still attacked Zi Chen. Fortunately, Zi Chen didn't let down his guard and dodged them one by one. From the looks of it, Zi Chen couldn't bear to kill any of these law-breaking beasts. Kevin's face was ghastly. The two sides weren't on the same level, but his people had all retreated. Their faces were full of fear. People who didn't know better would think that they had encountered a group of vanishing shadow beasts. He was regretting his decision. If he had known that these people were so weak, he would have brought some of his trusted subordinates. They wouldn't have ended up in such a sorry state. Now that they had been defeated, no one wanted to be the one who stayed behind to die. Therefore, hundreds of people were being chased by dozens of law-breaking beasts and Zichen. Moreover, they were dying as they ran. Gavin glanced at the burly man beside him and roared, "Follow me." As soon as he shouted, more than 20 people walked out. They were all his trusted subordinates. "Let's go. Follow me. You guys deal with the law-breaking beast. I'll kill that brat." The burly man's expression was cold. Killing intent flickered in his eyes as he walked forward. Along the way, he would catch any entity that tried to escape and toss them aside. "Zichen, do you dare to fight me face to face?" In his hand was an enormous wooden blade. Even in the dark of night, the blade that was raised high still emitted a cold glint. Zichen glanced at him as if he was looking at an idiot. However, he still couldn't ignore the other party's provocation, because if he did, the others would follow suit. As Zichen followed the law-breaking beasts forward, his eyes locked onto the other party. Everyone else was retreating, but the other party took the initiative to move forward. The law-breaking beast naturally knew who to attack, so it naturally treated them as its targets. Zichen gripped the bone staff and moved forward. Bang! With a tap of his foot, Zichen suddenly exerted his strength and leaped forward. He swept over everyone's heads and went straight for the burly man. "You're courting death." The burly man roared angrily. The wooden blade in his hand suddenly emitted a dazzling light as it slashed toward Zichen. At the same time, there seemed to be precepts circulating on the blade. The way of wind. Suddenly, a strong wind blew from all directions, blowing against Zichen's cheek. It brought with it some pain. A sharp and fierce aura rushed toward him. Zichen was a little surprised, but he wasn't afraid. Looking down from above, he smashed down with the bone staff in his hand. Infinite golden light bloomed, and a powerful aura surged. The bone staff carried with it an unstoppable force. The moment it came into contact with the long blade, the blade light was destroyed. The light sprinkled down, and the aura was still terrifying. When it landed on the long blade, the entire blade was destroyed. The light continued to spread, extending to half of the burly man's arm. His arm and one side of his body disappeared. The anger in the burly man's eyes immediately turned into fear, and he screamed loudly. His voice was very shrill. 2 streams of energy appeared in his other hand. He didn't immediately refine them like the others who wanted to survive. Instead, he directly put them into his mouth and devoured them. The burly man looked at Zichen, his eyes full of desire to live. Zichen's expression was cold. If the burly man lived, he would die. He raised the bone staff again and smashed down. Whang! The light disappeared, and the burly man's figure disappeared. Such a scene created an even more shocking effect. The second strength realm cultivators who followed the burly man immediately abandoned the law-breaking beasts and began to flee. Everyone was in the second strength realm, and they couldn't say who was stronger or weaker. The reason why they were divided into small leaders was because they had a good relationship with Kevin. Therefore, everyone had a rough understanding of their own combat strength. With the burly man easily killed, they would be fools if they didn't run. This could be said to have destroyed everyone's confidence. Those who wanted to give it a try before all ran away in an instant. For a moment, no one resisted. The law-breaking beasts were still in pursuit, reaping one life after another. "Kevin, do you dare to fight me?" Zichen followed behind the law-breaking beasts. Now, there was almost no need for him to do anything. The law-breaking beasts would take the initiative to attack. Therefore, he shouted at Kevin when he saw him. Kevin's expression was very ugly. Although he wasn't afraid of Zichen, those law-breaking beasts were troublesome. He looked around and saw that everyone had run away. Under such circumstances, it was obviously unrealistic to organize a new attack. Therefore, Kevin also retreated. However, before he left, he glanced at Zichen and said coldly, "Count yourself lucky. The next time we meet, you will definitely die. There's no need to wait for the next time. Let's do it now." Zichen rushed forward, his eyes full of murderous intent. Everyone else had run away. This was an opportunity for him. An excellent opportunity to kill Kevin. When Kevin saw Zi Chen chasing after him, his expression changed greatly, and he sped up again. He didn't want to go head-to-head with Zi Chen at this time. There was a difference in power between the two of them. Therefore, in terms of speed, Kevin surpassed Zi Chen. Soon, Kevin escaped into the crowd. It was almost impossible to find him without using the immortal spiritual eye. After a while, Zi Chen gave up. Kevin was completely gone. He quickly left before those law-breaking beasts turned around. He obviously couldn't stay here any longer. He walked in another direction. Back then, when Miao Pengfei left, he deliberately left a path for him, and the other party followed this path and went forward to investigate. Zi Chen followed this path until dawn. During this time, he didn't encounter any danger. Chapter 50-20. For the past few days, he had been writing while lying on his stomach. This posture was very uncomfortable. Today, he was not in the right state to write. Tomorrow, he would update. Thunder Marshal has no updates today. Currently in progress, please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 50-21. There were a dozen or so people in his field of vision. For them to appear here at this time, they should be a hunting team that came out at night. Zi Chen. Zi Chen lowered his head and changed direction. Just as he was about to pass by them, a voice suddenly called out. Zi Chen turned his head and saw Miao Pengfei. He was quickly moving forward, leaving the team. "Why are you here?" The two of them said this almost at the same time. Zi Chen had just randomly encountered a hunting team. He didn't expect to find a familiar face. "I brought people to look for you. Why did you come out?" Miao Pengfei looked at Zi Chen. "Look for me." Zi Chen was slightly taken aback. Miao Pengfei nodded and then asked, "Right, where are the kill crystals on you? Why don't you have them on your back?" Originally, Zi Chen would carry a basket full of crystals on his back wherever he went. That was why he could intimidate everyone. But now, the crystals were gone. Speaking of this, Zi Chen felt a bit sullen. Ever since he came here, nothing had gone smoothly. Not only had his kill crystals been taken away, but they didn't even say a word of thanks. Instead, they wanted to kill him. Faced with such a sullen situation, if it weren't for the fact that he was too weak, he would have killed those two already. The kill crystals were taken away. After Zi Chen told him what had happened, he felt very depressed. After hearing this, the smile on Miao Pengfei's face gradually disappeared. "Miao Pengfei, this is the person you were talking about." At this moment, someone walked over. He looked Zi Chen up and down. "Where's your kill crystal?" "What kill crystal?" Zi Chen asked. "You don't have a kill crystal." "Miao Pengfei, King dare to trick us?" The other person was angry. He grabbed Miao Pengfei's collar. "Do you want to die?" "Philo, easy, easy." Miao Pengfei patted the other person's hand lightly. "What's going on?" Zi Chen looked at Miao Pengfei. Miao Pengfei smiled bitterly. "I came here and told them about your situation. They said that it was a killing crystal, so I prepared to bring them to find you." Looking at the troubled Miao Pengfei, Zi Chen understood. After Miao Pengfei came here, he was obviously worried about his own safety, so he asked these people for help. And these people obviously wouldn't help for free. They were here to kill the crystal. However, Zi Chen did not have any killing crystals. "Brat, where's your kill crystal?" Philo glared at Zi Chen with an unfriendly expression. "The people from Sharta City took it away," Zi Chen said directly. "Wouldn't that be a wasted trip?" Philo turned to look at Miao Pengfei. "Miao Pengfei, you tricked us into coming here. What do you think we should do?" At the same time as that man spoke, the others also stepped forward and surrounded the two of them. Well said, well said. Brothers, you've all worked hard." Miao Pengfei immediately took out 2 strands of energy and gave everyone 2 strands. Seeing these 2 energies, everyone's expression eased a lot. Zi Chen didn't say anything when he saw this. "How can 2 strands be enough?" Philo said coldly. "You tricked us into coming here, and now you're giving us 2 strands of energy as compensation?" Brother, you know my situation. I really don't have much energy left, Miao Pengfei said with a bitter smile. Miao Pengfei complained, Brother, next time when I have accumulated enough energy, I will compensate everyone, okay? As he spoke, Miao Pengfei took out 2 more strands of energy as compensation. In total, he had given them 4 strands of energy. The energy that Zi Chen had given him probably really didn't have much left. After taking the energy, Philo harumphed coldly and turned to leave. The others also scattered. Zi Chen, let's go. Miao Pengfei tied at his clothes and gestured for Zi Chen to follow. You're just going to stay here? Zi Chen glanced at the people in front of him. Miao Pengfei chuckled bitterly. There's nothing I can do. People are the same everywhere. Just like last time, we've just arrived and haven't done anything yet, but we've already been envied by that Ronald. The people here are very xenophobic. Strangers are bullied wherever they go. If you don't fit in, you'll probably die. Miao Pengfei sighed. I'm not that bad. At the very least, I'm at the 2nd strength tier. If I was at the 1st strength tier, I probably would have died a long time ago. Even though Philo's people are a bit greedy, they're still better than Ronald, so I've barely managed to fit in. Zi Chen nodded. Actually, he didn't agree with Miao Pengfei's words. If this was fitting in, then he didn't care. Right, I heard them say that kill crystals are quite valuable. Since your kill crystals were taken away by the people of Shatterspell City, didn't they give you any rewards? Miao Pengfei asked. Before Zi Chen could finish speaking, Philo had arrived. I'm already lucky to be alive. Zi Chen said, you're right about one thing. It's the same everywhere. The group of people walked in front, chatting and laughing. Zi Chen and Miao Pengfei followed behind. Suddenly, Philo turned around and said to Zi Chen, Brat, if you want to join our group, each person has to have 4 sources of energy. Otherwise, F***CK off. Brother Philo, his kill crystals were stolen. Where would he get the energy? Miao Pengfei said. Why don't we owe him first and slowly pay him back when we have more? F***CK off. Who gives you the right to speak here? Philo said coldly. If you can't give me the energy, then both of you can F***CK off. Zi Chen shook his head and said, it looks like we're just destined to run away. Brat, what are you mumbling about? Philo said angrily. Do you want to die? Zi Chen smiled. I said I have the energy. Miao Pengfei tugged at Zi Chen, but he was unable to do so. Zi Chen had already finished speaking. Philo walked over, and the others followed. They quickly surrounded the 2 of them again. What did you say? Say it again. Philo stared intently at Zi Chen. Miao Pengfei stared at Zi Chen anxiously. Zi Chen said, Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Then, he looked at Philo. I have the energy. A light flashed in his hand, and dozens of sources of energy appeared in front of him. 4 for each person was enough. Philo's eyes lit up. Brat, it looks like I underestimated you. I've changed my mind. 8 sources of energy. If you want to stay, each person needs to have 8. Zi Chen smiled faintly and said, Sure. His hand flashed, and dozens more sources of energy appeared. Miao Pengfei sighed. He knew what Zi Chen was planning. It seemed like they would have to run again. 8 won't do. We need 16. No, 32. 32 for each person. Philo laughed loudly. Hand it over and stay. If you can't, then F***CK off. Zi Chen said, 32 for each person. Why don't you just rob me? Yeah, rob. Philo suddenly realized something. Brat, at least you know what's good for you. Hand over all the energy you have right now. Otherwise, both of you will die. That's right. If you don't hand over your energy, both of you will die. Everyone's eyes flashed with killing intent. Zi Chen put away his energy and sighed. People all die because of greed. As soon as he spoke, Zi Chen unleashed a palm strike. Chapter 50-22. Whoosh. The energy flowed past Philo's body like countless strands of principal energy before disappearing behind him. Philo's body froze, and the vicious expression on his face also froze. In the next instant, His body turned into energy and dissipated. Miao Pengfei sighed. What was the point of this? Wasn't it better to live on? Why did he have to die? When the others saw this, their expressions changed drastically, and they all retreated. He had killed Philo in the blink of an eye. This shocked them to the core. Zichen looked at these people and said, "How about you guys? How much more energy do you want?" Being stared at by Zichen, everyone felt a chill in their hearts and hurriedly shook their heads. What kind of joke was this? Asking for energy now? Were they looking to die? Then what are you guys standing around for? Zichen glared at them, and they immediately turned and ran. Seeing them leave, Miao Pengfei said, "Where are we going now? Let's go to that place first. If there's no other way, we'll go back to that mine." If there was no other way, Zichen would go back. Sure. The two of them walked forward. Along the way, Zichen asked, "What are the killing crystals you were talking about?" "They're the crystals you saved up before. Apparently, they're very rare. There are people in Shattering Fa City who specialize in buying them, and the price is very high." Miao Pengfei said, "Originally, I wanted them to take you out. Even if I gave them the killing crystals, it wouldn't be a big deal. At least they would have a place to stay, but," sigh, Miao Pengfei became very depressed. This place was so big, but there was no place for the two of them. Don't be depressed. Think on the bright side. If we don't join a faction, we won't have to take any risks. After walking for a while, Zichen saw some buildings. They were no different from the area under Kevin's control. However, the area seemed to be larger. Zichen saw many First Force Realm cultivators pushing the oldest wooden carts. There were many crystals on the carts. The laws of this world were very strange. Things that belonged to this world couldn't be put away. For example, weapons and the killing crystals he had obtained before. Otherwise, Zichen wouldn't have carried a basket around every day. The first Strength Realm warriors were pushing the carts while the second Strength Realm warriors were guarding them. They were like a group of mercenaries. "Do you know what the crystal stones are for in Pofa City?" Zichen suddenly asked. "He went to condense energy." Miao Pengfei said, "A large part of the energy that keeps everyone alive comes from inside." "Where are the killing crystals?" "I'm not too sure about that. Even Philo can't say for sure. Apparently, he used it to refine a weapon." Refining weapons? Zichen suddenly recalled the time when he had first awakened. In order to survive, he had become a corpse fisherman. At that time, there was a law that automatically transformed into a fishing net. This was one of the few things that Zichen had seen outside of wood since coming to this world. The long whip that was snatched away by the 4-strength realm woman last time could also be considered a special weapon. Zichen looked at the crowd in front of him. Everyone was busy, and some people would leave in a hurry when they saw the two of them. "I wonder what's in Pofa City." Zichen looked into the distance. All of the crystal stones had been brought to that mysterious place. No one can say for sure. Only 4 Strength Realm warriors can enter. And if 3 Strength Realm warriors want to enter, they'll need to find a way. Miao Pengfei said, "I've seen it. Let's go." Philo was the leader of a small group. Although he wasn't very strong, everyone was in a group here. Thus, Zichen was destined to be ostracized after killing Philo. They couldn't stay here, so they had to go to the next place. Miao Pengfei pointed into the distance and said, "If you don't mind, we can go around here and go to the next place. But that way, we'll be far away from the mine with the killing crystals." In the outer regions, each place controlled its own mine, and it was impossible to pass through one another. Before Zichen could respond, a commotion suddenly came from up ahead. A group of people was running in their direction. "Trouble is coming." Miao Pengfei looked at Zichen and said, "Are we going?" "Let's wait and see." Zichen gazed at the group of people in front of him. Some of them were the ones who had left earlier. It was obvious that they had found reinforcements. There were even more people now. At a glance, there were more than 50 people. The person in front of them was surrounded by 3 different types of power. This person was at the same cultivation level as Kevin. It was obvious that this person was the leader of this region. There weren't many people here, so if Zichen launched a sneak attack, there was a high chance that he could kill this person. Unfortunately, everyone was in a group, and they had already formed a powerful faction. Today, he had killed a 3-strength realm warrior. Perhaps a 4-strength realm warrior would appear tomorrow, and perhaps a 5-strength realm warrior the day after tomorrow. Just as Zi Chen was in a daze, the group of people arrived and surrounded the two of them again. However, after witnessing Zi Chen's strength, they didn't dare to be careless and slightly increased the size of their encirclement. "You killed Philo?" The 3-strength realm warrior stood 5 feet away from Zi Chen and looked at him. "Yes," Zi Chen admitted with a nod. "Why?" the 3-strength realm warrior asked. "He wanted to steal my power." Zi Chen didn't explain in detail because he was sure that the 3-strength realm warrior already knew the truth. For someone who could easily kill a 2-strength realm warrior, it wasn't strange at all that he had a few dozen types of power. "What's your name?" the 3-strength realm warrior asked again. "Zi Chen. You killed Philo, so I lost a squad leader. My position is empty, so you can take it." The 3-strength realm warrior glanced at Zi Chen, then looked at the person next to him. "Crew, what do we need to do? You arrange it." After speaking, he left. Zi Chen was left behind, stunned. The others were also dumbfounded. Why didn't their lord avenge Philo? The man named Crew glanced at the crowd and said, "What are you all standing there for? Hurry up and greet Captain Zi Chen." Only then did everyone come to their senses and immediately salute Zi Chen. Miao Pengfei stood there in disbelief. He had replaced Philo and become the captain just like that. It couldn't be that he was plotting something, could it? "Captain Zi Chen, my name is Crew. I'll explain to you what you're responsible for now." Zi Chen was also a bit dazed as he followed Crew forward. However, he didn't lose his mind. He remained vigilant of his surroundings. If there was any danger, he would take the initiative to respond. Unfortunately, the others around him were still busy, and no one paid any attention to him. Even if they did, they would only glance at him briefly. Philo was a 2-strength realm warrior captain, and he was only responsible for one of the escorts. He had about 50 people under him, and today, he had only brought a portion of them. After Crew explained everything, he left. He wouldn't stay here for too long. They weren't lying. What they told us was all about Philo's previous mission. It seems like they really do treat you as their new captain. Miao Pengfei had been here for a while, so he naturally knew what Philo's mission was. Chapter 5023. As per the title, there was no status. Stop updating. Thunder Warrior did not update today. Currently in the hands, please wait for a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page to get the latest update. Chapter 5024. Miao Pengfei couldn't believe that he and Zi Chen had stayed behind just like that. After all, those people were all part of the same group, and the two of them were outsiders, so they had been ostracized by everyone. But now, things seemed to have changed. Those who didn't like Miao Pengfei before were now extremely courteous to him. Philo's former residence was now Zi Chen's. Miao Pengfei stared at this residence, which was twice as big as a normal person's, in disbelief. Originally, he thought that he should run when the situation turned bad. But now, everything had changed. What's going on? Miao Pengfei looked at Zi Chen. "Do you think they're really that kind?" Zi Chen shook his head. He couldn't figure out what those 3-strength realm cultivators were thinking, but since they were here, they might as well stay for now. Miao Pengfei's expression suddenly changed. "Do you think this is a stalling tactic?" Zi Chen looked at Miao Pengfei. "They know that they're no match for you, so they're keeping you here. Their real goal is to go to Shatterdama City and find a powerful expert to kill you," Miao Pengfei said. "Impossible." Zi Chen said, "Those 3-strength realm cultivators are very arrogant. They don't think that they can't kill me." Zi Chen was very confident in this because Kevin was very confident in his own strength. It was just that the other party didn't want to take that step. And the 3-strength realm cultivators here didn't know him, nor did they know how strong he was. It was almost impossible that they were waiting for help. Maybe it's because of the killing crystal. This was the only way Zi Chen could think of. After coming here, the only secret he could reveal was the killing crystal. Could it be that they want you to find the killing crystal? Miao Pengfei guessed. Right, have they returned the energy to you yet? Not long ago, Miao Pengfei had given everyone 2 strands of energy as compensation. The dead Philo had received 4 strands. Miao Pengfei shook his head. Zichen's expression became serious. What's wrong? Miao Pengfei asked. Is there a problem? I am now in charge of them, and you are my friend. How could they have the guts to ask for compensation from you? Zichen frowned and said, he didn't return the energy. Maybe he thinks that I won't be the leader for long. Miao Pengfei's expression changed. They must be up to something. Why don't we leave at night? At this moment, the sky was almost dark. Leaving at night could save a lot of trouble. Zichen walked to the window and looked outside. He found that there were some people nearby. They seemed to be wandering around, but they were actually monitoring. It's over. It's over. When Miao Pengfei saw this scene, he said in despair, I guessed right. Why were they so insidious? If we had run earlier, we could have escaped. How about we kill our way out tonight? Zichen retracted his gaze. Let's wait first. Through their conversation earlier in the day, he didn't think that the other party was putting on an act. Because if it was acting, Crew could just casually brush him off. There was no need to explain it to him. Therefore, Zichen decided to wait and see. That night, Miao Pengfei didn't leave. He stayed in Zichen's room. Seeing Zichen calmly take the energy and refine it, he was extremely anxious. He used to be the city lord, so he had his own calmness. But that calmness was based on strength. When everyone was in the 1 strength state, no one could pose a threat to him, so he didn't panic. But it was different now. They were surrounded by people who could kill him. Now that they were being monitored, he couldn't calm down at all. This kind of anxiety lasted until the sky brightened. Miao Pengfei ran to the window and secretly looked outside. There were still people monitoring. Will today's experts come? In Miao Pengfei's subconscious, there should be 2 4-strength state experts blocking the door, 1 in front and 1 behind. At the same time, the others surrounded them, blocking all their escape routes. After a night of cultivation, Zichen consumed 3 streams of energy, but still didn't make any progress. He had already forgotten what it felt like to advance to the 2nd strength state. Was it luck, or emotion? It was hard to say. After opening the door, Zichen practiced a set of martial arts and warmed up his muscles. There were still people around, but he didn't care. Not long after, Crew came. Zichen, you're in a good mood. Crew looked at Zichen practicing and laughed. Zichen smiled and said, it's been a long time since I've been so free, so I came out to exercise. Sir, do you have any plans for me this time? Call me Crew. I don't dare to be called sir. A light flashed in front of Crew, and he took out more than 100 streams of energy. These are your shares. The 2nd strength state cultivators get 1 or 2 streams per day. Zichen, as the captain, you get 5 streams per day. Zichen put away the energy. He estimated that it was enough for 2 days. However, Zichen quickly reacted and asked, I'm not too familiar with the rules here. I wonder if I should leave some behind. Crew smiled and said, it's up to you whether you want to keep it or not. Zichen said, what I mean is, should I leave some for sir? When Zichen was in the area controlled by Gavin, Gavin gave him more than 100 streams of energy every day. It was obvious that the energy was embezzled. Crew laughed and said, you're really interesting. After saying that, Crew left. What do we need to do? Zichen asked again. The new batch of ores hasn't been mined yet. We'll talk about it when they come out. Crew left. Without a mission, everyone only got 1 stream of energy a day. Only when they went out on a mission would they get 2. Miao Pengfei walked out of the room. He didn't understand what the other party was up to. Distribute these streams of energy. Zichen took out a few dozen streams of energy and gave them to Miao Pengfei. Miao Pengfei took the energy and walked away. Zichen looked at Miao Pengfei's back as he left. This time, he felt more at ease. Not long after, Miao Pengfei ran back and said excitedly, they returned the energy to me again. Those who took Miao Pengfei's energy yesterday not only returned it, but also gave him 2 more streams each. Now, He took out a few dozen streams of energy and handed them to Zi Chen. You can keep them. Zi Chen said, they should be useful for gathering information later. Miao Pengfei understood what Zi Chen meant. He didn't refuse and kept the energy. After that, wherever he went, people were very polite to him. It was as if he had returned to the area under Gavin's rule. But this time, Zi Chen didn't threaten the Three Powers realm. Instead, he used the identity of a small leader. There were no missions for 3 days. There was only 1 day left of the energy crew gave him. Chapter 50-25. Kulu had come with a new mission. This was Zi Chen's first mission since arriving here. The mission was simple. He had to bring the new first strength realm cultivators to the original mine and bring back the newest batch of crystals. This was a very basic mission, and it usually wouldn't be too dangerous. Zi Chen led his subordinates into action. There were more than 50 of them, and some of them had just returned from a mission yesterday. They were led by a person called Hu Zheng. Hu Zheng was Philo's deputy and was deeply trusted by the latter. This time, Kulu had given Zi Chen even more energy sources, several hundred of them, to ensure that everyone was able to survive. Once the mission was over, they would give him the rest of the rewards. Sir, everyone is here. Hu Zheng walked up to Zi Chen and politely said. Then let's go. Zi Chen walked out. The 50 or so people were already waiting for him. They were all at the second strength realm, and their auras varied in strength. The people who had just returned yesterday were all looking at Zi Chen curiously. Of course they had heard of their new boss's exploits. He had been able to kill Philo in an instant, so one could imagine how powerful he was. Miao Pengfei had already distributed everyone's share of the day's energy, and the group set off. They walked to another cluster of buildings. There was another second strength realm cultivator here. He was in charge of more than 200 first strength realm cultivators. These people were commonly known as miners, or rather, cannon fodder. When he saw the group arrive, he glanced at Zi Chen. You're the one who killed Philo and replaced him? Zi Chen nodded. That's me. Not only did the shaman not kill you, but he even let you become the leader. It seems that you're quite lucky. With your luck, I'm sure we won't be in any danger this time. The shaman chuckled coldly and waved his hand. All right, don't just stand there. Tell your people to hurry up and leave. This time, we're going to the first mine, so it'll be a bit longer. This shaman's attitude was arrogant, and he glanced sideways at Zi Chen as he spoke. Zi Chen didn't bother arguing with him. He turned around and gestured for the group to continue onward. These dozens of people were like a group of mercenaries, responsible for protecting everyone's lives. As the team gradually walked away, Crew and the shaman walked out from the shadows. The shaman watched Zi Chen leave, while Crew stood to the side in silence. Sir, are you going to hand him over? Crew asked after Zi Chen and the others' figures had vanished from sight. Just yesterday, someone from Gavin's territory had come. The other party had accused Zi Chen of a lot of crimes and demanded Zi Chen back. The shaman also learned about what had happened to Zi Chen. All the kill crystals he had brought with him had been taken away by the people of Breaking Spellbreaker City. Not only did he not receive any rewards, but he was also surrounded and killed. Therefore, he rejected the suggestion and did not hand over Zi Chen. Keep it. It's just a small leader. It's not a lucrative job. The shaman said, perhaps we'll need him in the future. The number 1 mineral vein was the first mineral vein to be discovered here. It had been mined for many years, and the crystals inside were all ordinary energy crystals. This type of crystal was also the foundation of everyone's survival. As they walked forward, Hu Zheng explained to Zi Chen that he had been there more than once. The others were also chatting and laughing. Obviously, they weren't worried at all. Zi Chen looked ahead. In the center of the first 4 state warriors, their leader was sitting in a simple wooden sedan. He looked very relaxed. His name is Luo Xie. He used to be the leader of a team like you, sir. However, after that team was wiped out, he was transferred back to do this, Hu Zheng said. Wiped out? Zi Chen was surprised. What did they encounter? Vanishing shadow beasts. It's the rebel army. Rebel army? Zi Chen was stunned again. There's a rebel army here. A group of people who specialize in going against breaking Spellbreaker City. We call them the Rebel Army. There aren't many of them, and they mainly rob for a living. Chen was surprised. When he was in Gavin's area, he had never heard of the Rebel Army. Even Miao Pengfei looked surprised. He had been here for a long time and thought that he knew this place very well. However, he had never heard of the Rebel Army. The Rebel Army is always robbing big places. The place that you used to live in was too small and didn't have anything valuable. Naturally, the Rebel Army wouldn't go there. Hu Zheng pointed at his feet. Even this place isn't that big. The shaman is only the leader here. Compared to other places, it's still a lot worse. Oh, the reason why we met the Rebel Army last time was because Luo Xie was escorting a martial crystal. The news was somehow leaked and attracted the Rebel Army. Martial crystal? This was a new name. Chen had never heard of it before. Martial crystals are similar to killing crystals. The only difference is the energy contained in them. Hu Zheng continued to explain, killing crystals are used to make weapons, while martial crystals are used to break through realms. Break through realms? This word shocked Chen. Could it be that there were crystals here that had the same effect as elixirs? The number of killing crystals is slightly more, but martial crystals are very rare. This is because every martial crystal can force a person to break through realms. Hu Zheng looked at Luo Xie's back with envy. Although the rebel army robbed the item, Luo Xie wasn't punished by the shaman. Instead, he got such a good job. There's no danger, but the rewards are even greater. As Chen's assistant, Hu Zheng was paid 3 streams of energy every day. Luo Xie also received 3 streams of energy a day because the things he dealt with were not dangerous. However, every time he went out, he was in charge of the energy distribution of hundreds of people. One could imagine how much profit he made. Chen was different. He only had about 50 people under him. Even if there was profit, it wasn't much. In the end, Hu Zheng started to talk about other things. He didn't mention anything about the rebel army and Wu Jingshe. Chen had no choice but to ask again. I don't know much about the rebel army, but I heard that the martial crystal is something that can only be found by chance. It's very difficult to get one, and it's also very dangerous. Hu Zheng said, I heard that almost 100 miners died in order to get that martial crystal. I heard that it was because they encountered a burst of martial power that took their lives in an instant. Chen had seen killing crystals before and knew how miraculous they were. Therefore, he was very curious about the even rarer martial crystal. Most importantly, his strength hadn't increased. Perhaps he could only rely on one martial crystal. A 2-strength realm cultivator was restricted here. Once he advanced to 3-strength realm, his situation would obviously be better. Chapter 50-26. Hu Zheng shook his head and said, martial crystals are very rare. They can only be found in small amounts in some mines. Chen felt a little regretful when he heard this. If there were martial crystal mines, he could go and try. Hu Zheng continued, however, the martial crystals last time were found in the number 1 mine. During this period of time, we have been sending people to the number 1 mine for martial crystals. The sky darkened and bonfires burned fiercely. The 2nd-strength realm cultivators stayed outside while the 1st-strength realm cultivators gathered together. Chen, Hu Zheng, and Miao Pengfei stayed beside a bonfire. This kind of protection was usually not dangerous. Even if law-breaking beasts appeared, they would not dare to rush over when they saw so many people. Chen listened quietly as Hu Zheng talked about the situation here. Occasionally, he would look into the distance. Sir, I have no more energy. A frightened voice suddenly sounded, Sir, I can't hold on any longer. A 1st-strength realm cultivator walked up to Luo Xie in a panic and pleaded, Sir, I can't hold on any longer. The light of energy around that person had become very dim. Once his energy was exhausted, he would die without a doubt. Get lost. Luo Xie, who was in the middle of the 1st-strength realm, stood up and kicked that person several feet away. I have already given you the energy. What does your life have to do with me? Sir, I have not received today's share. Please give me some energy. That person stepped forward again and begged. 2 energy in 3 days. You deserve it if you run out of energy. Luo Xie said disdainfully, if you want to die, get lost. Don't be an eyesore here. Hearing this, Zi Chen frowned slightly and asked, why do they only get 2 energy in 3 days? Hu Zheng glanced at Zi Chen and did not say anything. Zi Chen understood that Luo Xie had taken the other strand of energy away from him. 1 energy in 3 days. It was easy to imagine how many of these 200 people had suffered. Sir, the journey this time is too long. I really can't hold on any longer. Sir, can you give me some in advance? I promise to make good use of it and not waste it. That person was still pleading. Zi Chen looked at the man. According to the light of energy around him, he would die in at most 15 minutes. His gaze shifted again, looking at the other people. Many of them had dimmed. Zi Chen wanted to get up. At this moment, Hu Zheng pulled Zi Chen aside. My lord, it's better to avoid unnecessary trouble. This Luo Xie has a very good relationship with Lord Shaman. If you offend him, it will be very difficult for you to gain a foothold here. That's right, Zi Chen. You and I have only just settled down, Miao Pengfei said worriedly. Let's not cause any more trouble. In this place, without absolute strength, everyone could only stick together. And the 2 of them had just been accepted by this group. Zi Chen said, if we don't do anything, more people will die in the future. Hu Zheng lowered his voice and said, if they die, there's no need to divide the energy. This is also a way for some people to make money. Hu Zheng was clearly already used to this, because this kind of thing was really too normal. But Zi Chen couldn't stand it. Because it was a human life. Even many human lives. But if they live, they can create more value. He walked over. Zi Chen, you. Miao Pengfei looked at Zi Chen, then sighed helplessly. He knew that it was time to run again. Hu Zheng looked at Zi Chen's back and said nothing. The other second strength realm people in the distance all turned around and looked at their new leader poking his nose into other people's business. Luo Xie, right? Zi Chen walked in front of Luo Xie. Luo Xie turned around and glanced at Zi Chen. What's the matter? Zi Chen said, according to the rules, each of them will receive a portion of energy every day. The expressions of the other first strength realm cultivators all changed. Of course they knew this, but no one dared to point it out. At this moment, when they heard Zi Chen say such words, the expressions in their eyes changed. What did you say? Luo Xie stood up and stared coldly at Zi Chen. According to the rules, each of them will receive a portion of energy every day, Zi Chen said calmly as he looked at Luo Xie. Whose rules? How come I don't know? Luo Xie picked at his ear and said mockingly. Everyone knows about Master's rules, Zi Chen said as he pointed at the first strength realm cultivator. You still haven't given him his portion of energy today. Luo Xie chuckled coldly. If I don't want to give it to you, what can you do? Do you really think that you're the leader just because you killed Luo Xie? Let me tell you, you're just a dog brought in at the last minute. If you don't listen, you can be killed at any time. Zi Chen stared at Luo Xie coldly. You want to talk about rules in front of me? Why don't you take a look at yourself first? Let me tell you, I have plenty of energy, but I'm not willing to give it to you. Luo Xie pointed at Zi Chen's nose and said, what can you do to me? Look, I have plenty of energy, but I'm not willing to give it to you. I'm willing to watch them all die one by one. Luo Xie pulled out nearly 100 portions of energy and began to flaunt his power in front of Zi Chen. Zi Chen pulled out a portion of energy and tossed it to the first strength realm cultivator. After receiving the energy, the first strength realm cultivator hurriedly thanked him and began to refine it. Obviously, saving his own life was more important. When the others saw this scene, they were all very envious. The first strength realm cultivator was lucky to have met such a kind leader. Many of them had died before because they had run out of energy. Zi Chen turned around and left. Obviously, he didn't want to get into a conflict with Luo Xie. Wait a minute, you think you're going to show off in front of me? Luo Xie said coldly, very well, the energy of my 200 people will be paid by you. If any of them die because they don't have energy, I won't forgive you. Zi Chen stopped and turned around. Are you serious? Luo Xie cursed. Do you think I'm joking with you? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? Are you worthy of me joking? Zi Chen suppressed his anger and said, okay, give me the energy. I'll be the one to release their energy. Are you King stupid? If I were to give you my energy, would I still need you to distribute it? Luo Xie said with a cold expression, what I mean is, you should give me your own energy. Zi Chen sighed when he heard this. Why, are you regretting it? Then I'll give you another chance. Kneel down and admit your mistake now, and I won't lower myself to your level. Luo Xie spat fiercely, F***ck, look at who you are. You're just a cat and a dog, how dare you meddle in my business? Suddenly, he felt a pain in his body. By the time he reacted, one of his arms had disappeared. Luo Xie's eyes suddenly widened and he looked at Zi Chen in shock. You dare to attack me? Do you want to die? The others were also shocked and immediately dispersed. Luo Xie immediately took out a stream of energy and began to recover at full speed. How dare you attack me? Just you King wait. I'm actually not kind. Zi Chen stood in front of Luo Xie. His eyes were cold. He stretched out his hand and drew a line in front of him. A light flashed from his fingertips and directly swept across the other party's legs. Kai. Chapter 50-27. Luo Xie screamed and fell to the ground. The intense pain caused his body to roll around continuously. However, in the next moment, his strong desire to live made him swallow a stream of energy. Then, he took out another one and refined it. The others looked at this scene in shock. They did not expect Zi Chen to attack directly. And in the eyes of the many-one strength realm, there was a carefree expression. Hu Zheng's eyes were shining while Miao Pengfei sighed. This matter could not be resolved peacefully. You, Luo Xie fell to the ground and glared at Zi Chen. However, after making eye contact with Zi Chen, he did not dare to say a word. This was because if he spoke any more nonsense, he would die. Sir, what do you mean by this? Luo Xie changed his tone. Even Zi Chen was slightly stunned by this change. Then, a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Initially, he did not intend to kill anyone. However, he changed his mind now. Sir, it's a misunderstanding. There must be some misunderstanding between us. Luo Xie felt the murderous intent in Zi Chen's eyes and explained again. His eyes were filled with fear. If I said something wrong, I'm willing to apologize to you. Sir, please don't hold a grudge against me. While begging for mercy, Luo Xie kept refining the energy to recover his life. In the end, Zi Chen did not kill him. He only looked at Luo Xie. Luo Xie's legs grew out first. Then, his desire to live exploded. He quickly got up and said, Sir, you were talking about the energy, right? I'll distribute it now and I promise I won't take any more. After saying that, he turned around and shouted, You curs. Hurry up and take away the energy that belongs to you. Why didn't you remind me when none of you took the energy? Then, he took out hundreds of streams of energy with one hand. These streams of energy floated in the sky and emitted a bright light. Seeing this, everyone immediately came forward and took a stream of energy. With this stream of energy, many of them would be able to survive today. After taking the energy, everyone bowed to Zi Chen. Zi Chen's action saved them. As for the risk, Zi Chen alone bore it. The group of second strength realm cultivators at the periphery watched this scene silently. No one said a word. However, when they looked at this new leader, they all had complicated expressions in their eyes. Some people were excited, some sighed, and some had sarcastic looks on their faces. This kind of boss was rare, but unfortunately, in this kind of environment, this kind of boss usually didn't live long. My lord, there's a law-breaking beast. Suddenly, a cry of surprise sounded from afar. Zi Chen turned his head at the sound and saw beams of light outside the bonfire. Those were the eyes of the law-breaker beasts. They were like bright lanterns, and there were quite a few of them. Zi Chen strode forward. Luo Xie stared at Zi Chen's back, a cold light flashing in his eyes. Many law-breaker beasts. In Zi Chen's field of vision, there were indeed many law-breaker beasts. However, thinking about it, It made sense. Since they dared to rush up like this, there must be a lot of them. Everyone, if you want the energy, you can attack together. However, you must be careful of your own life. Zichen shouted to the back. Luo Xie snorted subconsciously. Guarding is your job. It has nothing to do with us. However, Luo Xie quickly reacted and quickly corrected himself. However, if anyone really wants to gain something, you can attack. Kill. After Zichen finished speaking, he rushed forward and ignored what happened behind him. Seeing this, the others followed suit. The Lawbreaker beast in the lead was surrounded by two streams of energy. It was obviously an existence comparable to the second force realm. Zichen went forward, and the other party pounced forward. Just as the two sides met, Zichen struck out with his palm. Buzz! Lines of rule force appeared in his palm and swept forward, passing through the Lawbreaker beast's body. In the next moment, the other party's body disintegrated into pieces and scattered on the ground. When the others behind saw this, they were shocked. To kill a second Force Realm Lawbreaker beast in an instant, this combat power was too strong, wasn't it? The others rushed up and fought fiercely with the Lawbreaker beast. Zichen encountered a second one, and it was also a one-hit kill. Seeing this, Luo Xie's heart skipped a beat. Now he finally understood why the Lord wanted to keep Zichen alive. His combat power was really extraordinary. Thinking back, he still felt cold all over. At the same time, he was glad that he reacted in time. Otherwise, he would have died. Among the First Force Realm, some people also rushed up because there were First Force Realm existences among the Lawbreaker beasts. They might not be able to kill them one-on-one, but they could join forces. With the absolute advantage in numbers, this battle was completely one-sided. When the other Lawbreaker beasts saw this, they all ran away. The remaining corpses were quickly disintegrated and turned into beams of energy. Miao Pengfei followed behind and picked up all of Zichen's share. The two of them would definitely be on the run next, so they needed to save some energy. Everyone turned back, and the injured began to refine energy to recover. Zichen returned to the bonfire. Lord, why did you hold back? Hu Zheng lowered his voice and asked. If he killed Luo Xie directly, it would be the end of everything. He believed that the First Force Realm existences would not dare to report him. Zichen shook his head. He had thought about killing them, but he had held back in the end. After that, there were no more dangers. When the sky began to brighten, Miao Pengfei continued to give everyone 2 beams of energy each. Zichen did not hold back. When Luo Xie saw this, he could only give out energy along with Zichen. Over the next few days, everything was peaceful, and Luo Xie did not dare to hold back another beam of energy. Now that they had energy, the First Force Realm existences did not die. When they looked at Zichen, their eyes were filled with gratitude. Before coming, Miao Pengfei had warned Zichen to be careful of Hu Zheng. This was because Hu Zheng had a good relationship with Philo, and he might avenge him. However, after spending a few days together, not only did Hu Zheng not show any intention of revenge, but he also explained many secrets to Zichen. They finally arrived at the first mine, and their mission was half complete. Next, they would have to escort another group of people back with the crystals they had mined. Those people were also under Luo Xie's control. The first mine was very large, and anyone could enter. Zichen also had this idea. At that moment, Hu Zheng suddenly stopped him. Lord, are you going to the mine? Zichen nodded and said, I'll go in and take a look. Hu Zheng continued, Lord, are you here for the martial crystal? Yes, I want to try my luck. Seeing Hu Zheng's expression, Zichen asked, What? Are you not allowed to enter? Yes, but the martial crystal is very special. If you encounter it, the chances of you dying are very high. Hu Zheng glanced at Zichen before lowering his voice and saying, Lord, even if you're lucky and don't die and find the martial crystal, you'll still die if you break through. Why? Zichen did not understand. After reaching the third force realm, he could basically do whatever he wanted in this region. Who could hurt him? Chapter 50-28. Disappeared. Zichen's expression changed slightly. He could not believe it. 3 strength realm cultivators were considered top-notch experts here. How could they disappear? Yes, I know of two who suddenly disappeared, Hu Zheng said. Did they enter Shata City? Impossible, it's not that fast. Zichen fell into deep thought. He understood what Hu Zheng meant. I heard that the two strength realm cultivators went to look for the shaman after they broke through. His words were very obvious. This was also the reason why Hu Zheng stopped Zichen from entering the mine. Everyone could enter except for Zichen. Zichen would be in danger if he went back this time. The matter with Luo Xie was not over yet. The other party had been well behaved during this period of time. They were not really yielding, but they were enduring. When they returned, they would definitely cause trouble. It's obviously a good thing if we can find the martial crystal after entering. However, if we can't find it, it will be endless trouble. This was Hu Zheng's warning. One had to admit that it was very reasonable. Zichen nodded and gave up on the idea of entering. The main reason was that the martial crystal here depended on luck. The mine was so big, but only one piece was produced after so many years. The probability was too low. The others had already made their preparations. Everyone would return early the next morning. Of course, this was all arranged by Luo Xie. This was supposed to be a huge profit, but unfortunately, it was ruined by Zichen. However, Zichen's action saved at least dozens of lives. There was also a person in charge of the first mine. He was arranging accommodation for the newcomers and assigning new tasks. The people Zichen brought were all resting in the open. Zichen looked at the busy crowd and thought about Hu Zheng's words. Obviously, they could not enter the mine anymore. Otherwise, there would be trouble. Suddenly, a panicked voice came from one of the mines. Many people were running out crazily. Run! Dead, they're all dead. Everyone shouted and quickly rushed out from inside. What happened? A person in charge came forward and asked. My lord, someone dug a place and a ray of light suddenly flew out. When the light came into contact with a person, it would drill into the person's body and the person would die. A survivor said in horror. When Hu Zheng heard the other party's voice, his expression changed. Zichen looked at Hu Zheng. Do you know what it is? Hu Zheng said in a deep voice, maybe it's the martial crystal stone. It's emitting martial power. Zichen thought of the killing crystal. If he wanted to touch the killing crystal, the first thing he would encounter would be the killing force. Only after successfully blocking it would he be able to obtain the crystals. At first, Zichen did not go in because he was not sure. But now, it was obvious that Wu Jingsha had appeared again. It was worth a try. Then why did you come out? Why aren't you going in? The person in charge shouted, dig that thing out. Each of you will be rewarded with 10 strands of energy. This reward was not small, but compared to his own life, it was insignificant. No one dared to enter. No matter how the person in charge beat and scolded them, no one went in. That kind of power was too terrifying. Only death awaited those who touched it. Damn it, it's definitely martial crystals. This is a great opportunity. Luo Xie could not help but step forward and say, whoever can go in and bring out a crystal will be rewarded with 100 strands of energy. The reward was increased by 10 times, which made many people tempted. But when they thought of the deaths of those people, no one dared to go in. 200 strands. Luo Xie shouted again. After so many years of embezzlement, he was really rich. At this moment, Zichen suddenly realized that he had been tricked by Gavin. Luo Xie, who was in charge of a few people, could take out more than 200 strands of energy. The dignified Gavin, who was in charge of a force, could not take out more than 100 strands of energy every day. But now was not the time to worry about this. Zichen walked forward. I'll go take a look. You. Luo Xie turned his head and glanced at Zichen. The mockery that had subconsciously surfaced in his eyes immediately disappeared when he saw Zichen clearly. This. I already said that there will only be rewards if you take out the crystals. If you can't take out the martial crystals, there will be no reward. Luo Xie said, also, life and death are up to fate. Who will lead the way for me? Zichen looked at the miners. Naturally, no one was willing to lead the way because going in again would mean death. Chen took out 2 strands of energy and said, "Just point the way for me after you go in. You don't have to take the risk." Luo Xie in the distance saw this, and a trace of disdain flashed in the corner of his mouth. "Only 2 strands of energy. Poor bastard, serves you right for not being greedy." Naturally, no one around agreed. Chen took out 2 more strands of energy. "It's just a guide. Just tell me the exact route when you think it's safe." 5 strands of energy, I'll go. At this moment, someone suddenly spoke. "Let's go." Chen took out another strand of energy. A total of 5 strands of energy were thrown to the other party. "Sir, follow me." The other party took the energy, picked up a torch, and walked into the mine again. Chen followed behind, picked up a torch, and walked in. At this time, he still had to put on an act. Miao Pengfei was very nervous. After returning this time, Luo Xie would definitely make things difficult for him. However, if Chen refined the martial crystal here and broke through to the 3rd strength realm, he would naturally be able to resolve the crisis. Luo Xie watched Chen go in, and a smile flashed in the corner of his mouth. "It seems that I don't need to target you anymore." He naturally knew about the martial crystal. It was indeed a good thing. However, it was extremely difficult to obtain it. Not to mention a 2nd strength realm, even a 3rd strength realm cultivator would die if they encountered it. Chen entered the mine. The torch emitted a faint light, barely illuminating the surroundings. The 1st strength realm cultivator who led the way carefully moved forward. Chen said, "I'll go in front." "You lead the way." Chen walked in front and sped up. The 1st strength realm cultivator began to guide him, but after walking halfway, he did not dare to go in. He gave Chen the direction and immediately retreated. Chen followed the other party's guidance and walked forward. He gradually increased his speed. Last time, the power of the killing crystal was neutralized by the slaughter spirit. He did not know if the slaughter spirit could neutralize the power this time. After going deeper, Chen's eyes began to shine. At the same time, he summoned the slaughter spirit and made multiple preparations. Following the person's guidance, after turning a corner, Chen gradually approached his destination. In his field of vision, rays of bright light appeared. These rays of light were like energy, filling the surroundings. Whoosh! Under Chen's control, the slaughter spirit rushed past, but did not absorb these rays of energy. In the next moment, these rays of energy moved and suddenly rushed towards Chen. Chapter 50-29. Boundless energy entered Chen's body, forming a powerful destructive force that wanted to destroy his vitality and body. Without any warning, Chen's expression changed drastically. The energy around his body surged, trying to force the energy out of his body. It was useless. After the energy entered his body, it immediately integrated into every part of his body, as if it had become a part of his body. This feeling was very strange. It was as if a huge monster had drilled into his body, trying to force his body to explode. The intense pain made Chen scream. His vitality began to disappear. This kind of destruction was not caused by destruction, but by explosion. It was as if he had eaten a lot of things. This was the feeling of his body exploding. These lights were actually energy. In his mind, just as this thought appeared, Chen suddenly felt a huge tremor. Boom! This tremor came from his heart. After the tremor, it formed a ripple that spread out. Then, Chen's body seemed to have become a bottomless pit. The energy from within crazily gathered in his body. The energy that entered his body went to his heart at the same time. Boom! His heart beat violently for the 2nd time, devouring all the energy. The discomfort in Chen's body disappeared. His body was normal. He carefully sensed his body. Everything was fine. The energy in his body was still abundant. There was no other discomfort. Chen smiled in relief. If it wasn't for that special heart, he would have been completely finished this time. The light of energy in the surroundings disappeared. Chen looked in front of him, but it was empty. There was nothing there. He tried to dig a few times, but he still found nothing. There were no martial crystals here. The energy from the martial crystals earlier might just be a coincidence. Because when Zi Chen found the killing crystals, not all places with killing intent would have killing crystals. After searching carefully for a while, Zi Chen still could not find anything. He could only helplessly walk out. Asterisk 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 asterisk. The sky gradually darkened. The crowd still did not wait for Zi Chen to come out. Luo Xie smiled proudly. Don't wait anymore. That guy doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He must have died inside. When everyone heard this, they all felt very regretful. After all, many of them were indebted to Zi Chen for taking care of them all the way here. Luo Xie turned his head and looked at the crowd. What the F *CK are you all standing there for? Hurry up and clap to welcome him. Miao Pengfei's eyes flickered coldly. Hu Zheng pulled him back and signaled him not to be impulsive. The people who came with Luo Xie began to clap unwillingly. Luo Xie tilted his head and said, "Not loud enough. Where's your enthusiasm?" The crowd had no choice but to continue clapping. Luo Xie looked at the other people beside him. These people would leave with him tomorrow morning. What about you guys? Don't you have ears? Facing this new lord, everyone could only applaud. The person in charge of this place, who was at the second strength realm, saw all of this. Although he did not know what grudges the two had, he felt that it was very interesting. Luo Xie raised his hand, and the crowd stopped clapping. He said directly, "Listen to me, there is no such thing as one beam of energy per day. Everyone only has 2 beams of energy per 3 days." Everyone's expression changed when they heard this. It was obvious that they were going to embezzle. Hu Zheng's eyes flashed, but he did not say anything. "What are you all standing there for?" Luo Xie looked at the people in the one strength realm and said, "Hurry up and return the extra energy you took from before. Also, those who have smuggled it, return it double." During this period, because Luo Xie did not embezzle their energy, everyone had some stockpiled in case they needed it. Especially those who followed Zi Chen's team and worked together to kill the law-breaking beast, they had accumulated some energy. Now, Luo Xie was actually targeting them. For a moment, everyone's eyes were filled with anger. "What? Are you all thinking of rebelling? Let me tell you, without my permission, do you think you have the chance to kill the law-breaking beast?" Luo Xie said unhappily, "You're lucky that I didn't ask you to take out all your gains. Hurry up." Everyone was angry, but no one dared to resist. Because the result of resisting would be death. Hurry up and take out your energy. Those who disobey will be killed without mercy. Luo Xie's eyes were filled with cold murderous intent. The leader who was in charge of this place looked at this scene mockingly. Such a scene was too common. If they could not embezzle some of the profits, what was the point of them being the leader? When Zi Chen walked out with a torch, he saw everyone gathered around Luo Xie. He did not know what they were doing. Zi Chen walked forward. Along the way, people saw Zi Chen and their expressions changed. However, their expressions soon became extremely excited. "Sir, sir." For a moment, everyone bowed to him. "It's useless to shout. Hurry up and take out your energy," Luo Xie said without turning his head. "Damn it, why don't you all take a piss and look in the mirror? Who do you think you are? How dare you take my energy?" "Mph, that bastard Zi Chen died quickly. Otherwise, I would have killed him too. What are you doing?" A voice sounded from behind Luo Xie. "Are you F*King blind? Can't you see me?" Luo Xie turned his head and glared angrily at the newcomer. However, when he saw Zi Chen's appearance clearly, it was as if he had seen a ghost. He immediately swallowed the rest of his words and subconsciously bowed. "Sir, why have you returned?" Zi Chen glanced at Luo Xie and then looked at the others. "What the hell is going on? What are you doing?" "Nothing, I played a little joke with them." Luo Xie immediately said, "It's just a very, very small joke to test their loyalty." After saying that, Luo Xie immediately turned around and said, "You all performed well and passed the test. Now, take back your energy, and everyone will be rewarded with one more." As he spoke, Luo Xie quickly took out the energy that he had taken away earlier and took out some more. In the distance, everyone looked at Luo Xie with infinite contempt. After seeing Zi Chen, The other party's arrogance from before completely vanished. The person in charge of the number 1 mine had a curious look in his eyes. The lawless Luo Xie seemed to be particularly afraid of this person. Sir, you're out. What about Wu Jingshe? Luo Xie changed the topic while distributing the energy. After going in, I didn't find anything. Zi Chen said lightly. Luo Xie said, that Wu Jingshe is extremely precious. It's normal that you didn't find it. Don't be depressed. Zi Chen couldn't be bothered with him and walked back. The energy that belonged to everyone was distributed, and at the same time, each person was given an extra energy. This loss made Luo Xie very depressed, but he did not dare to say anything. Early the next morning, everyone continued to lead the team back. Along the way, with Zi Chen following, Luo Xie did not dare to take advantage of everyone until they returned to the station. Chapter 50-30. Luo Xie was very active. He didn't even rest when he returned and immediately came to report. Along the way, he had endured Zi Chen for too long. He had never been so wronged before. If he didn't do something, he felt like his body would explode. The attraction of Wu Jingshe was great. The shaman walked out of the room. Are you sure it's Wu Jingshe? Very sure. Luo Xie was full of confidence. Zi Chen must have hidden one. Tell me in detail. Don't miss any details. The shaman's eyes flashed. Luo Xie described the situation in detail. Naturally, he couldn't help but add some details. He must have gotten the Wu Jingshe to be able to come out alive. There's no doubt about that. Sir, quickly bring people to kill him. He's probably going to run away. If Zi Chen runs away, the Wu Jingshe will be gone. Luo Xie said anxiously, Sir, quickly send people to kill him. The shaman waved his hand and said, I know. You can leave first. Leave. Luo Xie was stunned. Sir, why don't you just kill Zi Chen? I have my own considerations. Seeing that the shaman was deep in thought, Luo Xie didn't dare to say more. He could only leave unwillingly. After Luo Xie left, Crew walked out from behind. What do you think? The shaman didn't turn his head. If Zi Chen wanted to run away, he wouldn't have come back. Crew said. I mean, what do you think of this matter? The shaman asked again. Wu Jingshe is extremely rare. Only a few have appeared in so many years. If he really got it, then he's too lucky. But, Crew said, we shouldn't just listen to one side of the story. Maybe it's better to ask outside. Then you go and take a look. Okay. Asterisk 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 in Zi Chen's room, Miao Pengfei looked at Zi Chen. You got the Wu Jingshe? Zi Chen asked in surprise. Why do you ask? Miao Pengfei said, if it were someone else, I wouldn't believe it. But that person is you. I think you still have the ability. Along the way, Zi Chen had given Miao Pengfei too many surprises, so he had a blind confidence in Zi Chen. Zi Chen smiled bitterly and said, sorry to disappoint you. After I went in, I didn't see Wu Jingshe. Thinking back to that scene, Zi Chen said, if there really is a martial crystal stone, maybe I can really get it. When Miao Pengfei heard this, a look of disappointment immediately appeared on his face. If that's the case, let's hurry up and run. Why are you running? Zi Chen was puzzled. You've offended Luo Xie, so he's definitely going to complain to Shaman. If we don't run now, are we going to wait for Shaman to bring people to kill us? Miao Pengfei said, they're on the same side. There's no rush. Let's wait and see. I don't think that Shaman is that unreasonable. Asterisk 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 asterisk. While Zi Chen and Miao Pengfei were in the room, Cruz ordered people to come here and find some people to ask about what happened. The result surprised him greatly. So, he brought the news back and told Shaman. In that case, Zi Chen really didn't get the martial crystal stone, Shaman said faintly. Cruz said, if it were me, I definitely wouldn't come out after getting the martial crystal stone. Instead, I would directly refine it inside. Even if I came out, I wouldn't come back with the team. Finding a suitable place to break through to the third strength realm is obviously the safest way. Shaman glanced at Cruz and motioned for him to continue. Cruz said, It's obvious that Luo Xie wants to use this matter to get rid of Zi Chen. However, regarding this matter, I agree with Zi Chen's approach. Even if he embezzles the energy, he should still consider the lives of others. Since the last time Luo Xie's team was wiped out, Luo Xie began to lead people through the number 1 mine. All this time, he had not reported the deaths of anyone. It was obvious that these people were dead, but the resources were still given. It could even be said that when these dead people reached the mine, they were still given the resources according to the number of living people. It was equivalent to some dead people still receiving energy every day. Shaman's fingers gently tapped on the table. In fact, he was very clear about this matter, but he did not expect Luo Xie to go so far. Let's keep an eye on Zi Chen and see if there are any abnormalities. What about the grudge between Luo Xie and Zi Chen? Ignore it for now. After Cruz left, Shaman fell into deep thought. In fact, Gavin had come many times to ask for Luo Xie. If Zi Chen could get the killing crystal, then there was a high possibility that he could get the martial crystal stone. At the very least, he could give it a try. He was very unwilling to let him go just like that. Lord Shaman, have you been busy recently? Suddenly, laughter came from outside the door. Shaman's expression changed slightly and he immediately walked out of the room. Then, he saw Gavin. He actually came in person. At the same time, there were 3 people standing next to Gavin. 3/4 strength realms. Shaman's pupils shrank and he hurriedly bowed. Greetings, lords. Shaman, how dare you do this? You won't even give him to us. A man carrying a long stick glanced at Shaman from the corner of his eyes. Lord, you've misunderstood. Zi Chen went out on a mission a few days ago. I could only wait for him to come back, Shaman quickly explained. Where is he now? The man asked again. Lord, you've come at the right time. Zi Chen just came back a few hours ago. I was going to look for him after finishing my work. I didn't expect you to come. Gavin glanced at Shaman with disdain in his eyes. Gavin obviously didn't believe a single word he said. Lead the way. Lord, please follow me. Shaman immediately walked forward and exchanged glances with Gavin. Gavin smiled disdainfully. Leading them to Zi Chen's residence, Shaman shouted, Zi Chen, come out quickly. See who's here. Zi Chen walked out of his room. He saw familiar faces. The 2/4 strength realm martial artists who took away his killing crystal and wanted to kill him. Gavin, who was in the 3rd strength realm, and a man with a long stick that he had never seen before. Zi Chen greets you, lords. Zi Chen immediately saluted them. Gavin didn't say anything and stepped forward to kick him. Bam! Zi Chen's body flew backward and smashed into the wooden house behind him. You're tough. You ran away without saying a word. You made it hard for me to find you. Gavin quickly stepped forward and stomped on Zi Chen. Aren't you capable? Why don't you continue running? Bam! Bam! Gavin's big feet kept landing on Zi Chen's body, causing energy to vibrate. Of course, he wouldn't kill Zi Chen. He just wanted to humiliate him. Didn't you want to kill me? Come on, I'm already here. Do it if you can. The commotion attracted the attention of many people. Most of them were Zi Chen's subordinates. When they saw this scene, their expressions changed. Miao Pengfei also came. When he saw Gavin, he immediately hid in the distance and didn't dare to approach. Gavin kicked Zi Chen in front of everyone. Ungrateful dog. If I didn't take you in, you'd be dead. Now that you've grown up, you dare to rebel. Chapter 50-31. Gavin stepped forward and beat him up without saying a word. He cursed as he beat him up. Zi Chen covered his head with his hands and did not resist. He was at the mercy of the other party. The others watched in silence with complicated expressions. Especially Zi Chen's subordinates. Although Zi Chen had only been their boss for a short period of time, they had a good impression of this boss who never embezzled resources. Hu Zheng also came. He was watching from afar and was very surprised. Hehe, looks like I'm not late. Luo Xie also heard the news and came. When he saw Zi Chen being trampled and humiliated, he laughed and said, "Evil people will be punished by evil people. This guy got his retribution. You were too gentle. Couldn't you have just cut off his arms? Or cut off his limbs? Wouldn't that have been better? The shaman stood aside and did not speak. He looked at the three people beside him from time to time. The three people in the fourth strength state looked at him mockingly, as if they were waiting for a good show. All the more he could not say anything. Damn it, you're too tough. I'm tired of beating you up. Gavin kicked him again. After venting his anger, he walked back. Zichen was still lying on the ground with his hands covering his head. Are you pretending to be dead? Get over here and greet the masters, Gavin said sternly. Zichen had no choice but to stand up and salute them once more. The shaman looked at Zichen and did not know what to say. His expression was complicated, but there was no contempt in his eyes. Because in this situation, resistance would only lead to death. Do you know why we're looking for you? The man with the baton looked at Zichen. I don't know, Zichen replied. Gavin kicked Zichen to the ground again. When you answer a question, you have to add the word villain. Zichen stood up again. I don't know. You made us look for you. Of course, we have to teach you a lesson. The man with the baton sneered. You deserve it, don't you know? Zichen said, I had no choice. That day, after the two of you took away the basket of kill crystals, I was hunted down. If I didn't run, I would have died. The shaman's eyes flashed. There was actually a basket of kill crystals. He quietly looked at the two people beside him, taking away a basket of kill crystals and then silencing them. Although this method was a bit like killing a chicken to get the eggs, this way, the kill crystals in their hands would be even more valuable. Because if he missed this opportunity, there would be no more opportunities in the future. The man with the long stick glanced at the two people beside him. Gavin kicked him again. How dare you? You were the one who ran away. How dare you accuse the two lords? Zichen rolled on the ground again. After getting up, he said, Yes, I ran on my own. The others just persuaded me not to run. Gavin stepped forward and prepared to kick again. The man with the baton glanced at Gavin. Gavin smiled awkwardly. I'm used to it. Sir, please don't blame me. I don't know why, but when I see this guy, I feel like kicking him. Follow me back to find the killing crystals. The man with the stick said, Find the killing crystal and I'll spare your life. Yes. Zichen nodded immediately. Before leaving, Zichen bowed to the shaman again. Thank you for taking care of me all this time. The shaman nodded and said, You're welcome. Take care. Gavin saw this and became even angrier. He was clearly the Lord. If the man with the baton was not standing there, he would have killed Zichen immediately. Letting such a person live was obviously a scourge. However, if he killed Zichen now, he would not be able to live either. Using his own life in exchange for Zichen's worthless life, no matter how he looked at it, it was not worth it. I'll kill you when you're no longer of any use. Gavin had made up his mind. During this time, Zichen saw Miao Pengfei. He used his eyes to signal the other party to quickly hide and not let Gavin see him. Gavin did not dare to kill him, but he dared to kill Miao Pengfei. When he walked past Hu Zhang, he nodded at him. Hu Zhang nodded in response. After this farewell, they might not see each other again. Hey, some people are finally going to get lost. Luo Xie's laughter rang out as he gloated, What a guy. Living in this world is simply a waste of energy. Gavin heard this and said disdainfully, It seems that you're not welcome wherever you go. If I were as disliked as you are, I would have killed myself. Zichen glanced at Luo Xie. Luo Xie glared at Zichen. What are you looking at? Do you believe that I'll gouge your eyes out? Why don't you take a look at yourself? Luo Xie was confident that Zichen would not dare to make a move at this time, so he was not afraid. You're still looking? Do you want to die? Luo Xie's eyes flashed coldly. With 3 masters in the 4th strength state, he did not believe that Zichen would dare to make a move at this time. Moreover, the other party would leave soon, and they might not see each other for the rest of their lives. This was his only chance for revenge. Why don't you take a look at yourself? How dare you tell me what to do? Luo Xie scolded, while the other 3 masters in the 4th strength state laughed mockingly. They felt that Zichen needed to be humiliated and beaten up like this. Otherwise, he would lose control. The other party was so bold that he killed a spellbreaker. You still dare to look? Do you believe that I'll blind your eyes? Luo Xie stretched out 2 fingers and made a provocative gesture towards Zi Chen. Zi Chen looked at Luo Xie coldly, and killing intent appeared in his eyes. You still want to kill me? Come on, I'll put my head here. Do you dare to kill me? Luo Xie stretched his neck and gestured with his hand. Come on, let me see your strength. Let's see how you're going to kill me. Zi Chen smiled coldly. You really don't know what's good for you. Can't you live properly? Cut the crap. Come here if you can. Luo Xie was still provoking. Zi Chen's figure flashed and appeared in front of Luo Xie. Before anyone could react, he reached out and grabbed Luo Xie's head. In the next moment, a light of energy appeared in front of him. It was like a net of laws that swept across Luo Xie's body. Buzz! Luo Xie's body disintegrated, leaving only his head in Zi Chen's hand. This scene was beyond everyone's expectations. No one thought that Zi Chen would really dare to make a move. He dared to make a move in front of the masters. Was he not afraid of death? Luo Xie also reacted. However, he had completely lost control of his body. He could even see his entire body turning into a stream of light and disappearing. Deep fear appeared in his eyes. There was also deep regret. Unfortunately, it was too late. Zi Chen looked at him and said indifferently, "Why do you want to die?" As soon as he finished speaking, Luo Xie's head disappeared. The surrounding people were shocked. Previously, they also thought that Zi Chen would not dare to make a move. However, no one was too emotional about Luo Xie's death. He did not have the strength and dared to provoke others. He deserved to die. But now, everyone was looking at Zi Chen and the 3 masters of the 4th strength state. How would they deal with Zi Chen's audacity? There's no more show to watch. Let's go. Chapter 5032. Luo Xie's death was his own fault. Zi Chen didn't dare to do anything to Jiao Wen because of his special status. He was a big shot and couldn't be killed easily. But Luo Xie was nothing to him. For the killing crystal, those people wouldn't say anything. So, after killing Luo Xie, the man with the sword felt bored and started to return, leaving behind the dumbfounded crowd. After seeing this scene, Gavin's expression became solemn. Imagine, if Zi Chen killed him, how would those people react? They would probably pretend not to see it for the killing crystal. This made Jiao Wen even more determined to kill Zi Chen. As long as there was a chance, he would kill him. Otherwise, one day, when Zi Chen was strong enough to kill him, it would be too late for regrets. After returning, they didn't stay for long and walked back to the mine. Zi Chen walked on the road in silence. Through the conversation, he knew the name of the man with the sword, Eddie. The remaining 2 were named Todd and Han Lu. They were the ones who had taken away his killing crystals. Jiao Wen still followed them. At night, Jiao Wen urged Zi Chen to pick up firewood. They sat around the bonfire. During this time, Zi Chen looked around as if he was looking for something. They didn't care, thinking that Zi Chen was looking for the law beasts. This night, there was nothing unusual, not even law-breaking beasts. Zi Chen symbolically took out energy to refine. After all, his realm was the weakest among them. The other 3 didn't consume much energy. The next day, they continued their journey. During this time, Eddie and the other 2 talked and laughed. Through their conversation, Zi Chen learned something about Dharma-breaking city. It was said that there was a complete place for refining weapons. For example, the murderous intent of the killing crystal had to be converted in Dharma-breaking city before it could be injected into weapons. On this night, spell-breaking beasts appeared, but before Zi Chen could make a move, Eddie wielded his wooden saber and slashed at them. Waves of murderous intent lingered. The wooden sword was as sharp as a divine weapon, easily cutting the law-breaking beast's body. It seemed that because its realm was too high, the law-breaking beast didn't leave any energy after it died. Eddie was just testing his saber. Zi Chen's eyes were still scanning the surroundings. Suddenly, his expression changed slightly as a shadow appeared in front of him. It was the annihilating shadow beast. But whether it was Eddie, Todd, or Khan Lu, none of them reacted. The three of them could not see the vanishing shadow beast. As for Gavin, he just stood there stupidly. After Eddie put away his saber, he walked over with a smug expression on his face. Zi-Chen's pupils shrank and his expression changed again. The annihilating shadow beast was behind Eddie. There was still no response from the other party. The vanishing shadow beast opened its mouth and inhaled. Eddie's soul shadow began to tremble as if it was trying to be pulled out of his body. Both parties seemed to be engaged in a tug-of-war. Eddie felt dizzy and his expression changed drastically. He slashed the long saber in his hand horizontally with killing intent gushing out. Kai. Under Zi-Chen's gaze, Eddie's long knife swept past the annihilation shadow beast's body. However, it was as if they were separated by two different dimensions. What happened? Seeing this, Todd and Khan Lu stood up one after another. The two of them sensed that something was wrong with Eddie. I was attacked. It should be the annihilation shadow beast, Eddie said with lingering fear. The annihilation shadow beast. The two of them were shocked and immediately looked to both sides. Gavin was also shocked. He quickly stood up and deliberately moved closer to the three of them. Zi-Chen stayed by the bonfire and didn't move because the annihilation shadow beast had already retreated. Zi-Chen had always been puzzled by his situation. Why could he see the annihilation shadow beast? It would be normal if he saw it with his immortal spiritual eye, but he obviously didn't use it. You're so careless. Gavin looked at Zi-Chen's nonchalant expression and snorted in dissatisfaction. The other three also looked at Zi-Chen. They were all very nervous, but Zi-Chen's expression was very calm. As if he sensed their suspicious gazes, Zi-Chen explained, I've seen others killed by the annihilation shadow beast. They didn't notice it in advance and didn't feel any pain. Furthermore, the annihilation shadow beast is invisible and hard to defend against. Instead of scaring yourself, it's better to rely on luck. This straightforward explanation left Gavin speechless. Eddie said, childish. Do you really think that the annihilation shadow beast is invisible? Zi-Chen pretended to be confused and looked at Eddie. Eddie continued, that's because you can't see it. You actually think that it doesn't exist. Your thinking is ridiculous. The three of them sat by the bonfire again. Gavin said curiously, Sir, the two spellbreakers who came last time didn't seem to see the annihilation shadow beast either. Gavin was sitting in the middle of the three of them. Evidently, he wanted the three of them to protect him. Of course they can't see it. They're just in the fourth strength realm. Even if they have a bit of soul power, they can't see the annihilation shadow beast. Eddie laughed sarcastically and said, they can only see it when they're in the fifth strength realm. However, those in the fourth strength realm can already sense the annihilation shadow beast. Soul power? What's that? Gavin asked curiously. Zi-Chen also looked at Eddie. In this world, this term was relatively unfamiliar. It's something awakened by some lucky aborigines, but they're a bunch of ignorant people, Eddie said sarcastically. Eddie said sarcastically, last time, if it were anyone else, they would have known that there were killing crystals in the veins. Only those lawbreakers were so arrogant, but they didn't know anything. With that, he glanced at Zi-Chen. This guy was also a weirdo. The killing crystals were so precious, but they were used as consumables. Such a waste of God's gift should be struck by lightning. Eddie then changed the topic. Because Zi-Chen didn't have the right to speak, he just listened quietly. He didn't cultivate for fear of exposing himself. He just refined the energy along the way. In the next few nights, they were attacked by a group of spellbreakers, but they were all easily killed by Eddie. Zi-Chen didn't fight, and no one paid Zi-Chen anything. They all treated him like he didn't exist. Sometimes, Gavin would also punch and kick him. Finally, they arrived at the mine. Unlike last time, there were many people gathered here. Following Zi-Chen's appearance, an ice-cold gaze immediately landed on him. He followed the gaze and saw that it was the woman from last time. She was a fourth strength realm spellbreaker. She could sense the existence of the spellbreakers. She was also here. This made Zi-Chen stunned. He was very surprised. When the woman saw Zi-Chen, her eyes immediately flashed with anger. She immediately flew over. Zi-Chen wanted to escape, but Todd and Khan Lu stood behind him, one on the left and one on the right. The woman approached and waved the whip in her hand. Slap. The whip landed on Zichen's cheek. The huge force sent Zichen flying. The commotion was not small. Everyone raised their heads and looked in their direction. The woman waved the whip and kept whipping Zichen. She didn't speak, and Zichen didn't wail. Only the sound of the whip could be heard. You're really asking for a beating. You get beaten up wherever you go. Gavin saw this and smiled disdainfully. Zichen was like a mouse. People beat him up wherever he went. However, it was understandable. Last time, Zichen schemed against the two of them and scared them away. What kind of humiliation was that? Chapter 50-33. The others looked over and saw the misophobic lawbreaker whipping Zichen, who was at the second strength realm. Many of them knew Zichen, and some of them had even participated in the operation to kill Zichen. Didn't Zichen run away? Why did he come back? The woman fought until Zichen's chi was exhausted before she stopped. Zichen immediately got up and took out some energy to refine. He didn't resist, so he was injured. You're really thick-skinned. Seeing this, Gavin stepped forward and kicked Zichen, knocking Zichen over again. Eddie, Todd, and Khan Lu, on the other hand, stood at the side and laughed. Earlier, when Zichen wanted to run, it was Todd and Han Lu who blocked the way. If he didn't get beaten up and let the Megai Breaker vent her anger, it would be difficult for him to succeed. In their opinion, after punching and kicking Zichen from time to time, they believed that Zichen must have learned his lesson. Zichen got up again and continued to refine the energy. The woman was so angry that she raised her whip, but when she saw Zichen's weak aura, she put it down. She didn't feel sorry for him, but if she killed him, there would be no point for her to come here. Gavin wanted to kick him again, but when he saw that the Megai Breaker didn't attack again, he didn't dare to. Did you find anything? Eddie looked at the Megai Breaker. The Megai Breaker shook her head. Many people died, but I didn't find anything. Looks like we can only let him go in. Eddie glanced at Zichen. The killing crystal was too precious, so it couldn't be lost. This was also why they wanted to bring Zichen back and humiliate him. They needed someone who would listen to them. After Zichen fully recovered, the woman raised her whip again. Eddie said, "Let him go in first." The Megai Breaker snorted. "You go in now." Eddie looked at Zichen and said indifferently. Zichen glanced at Gavin. "Let's go together. We can take care of each other." Gavin's expression changed drastically, and a hint of fear appeared in his eyes. Even those in the fourth strength state would not dare to enter that place. If he went in, he would definitely die. It was obvious that Zichen wanted to kill him. "You go in by yourself." Eddie's voice was cold. Of course, he would not agree. No matter how useless Gavin was, he was still a manager and naturally could not die. Zichen turned around and walked into the mine. The female spellbreaker suddenly said, "Wait, we are indeed worried about you going in alone. Bring some people with you." She waved her hand and said, "Bring these 10 people in." The faces of the 10 second strength realms that were marked changed greatly. One of them immediately said with a sad face, "Sir, we can't do that. We don't have that ability. Only death awaits us if we go in. Follow him, and you won't die," Eddie said. It was a good suggestion. The female spellbreaker looked disgusted. Naturally, she would not reply. The 10 of them looked at Zichen with indescribable complexity in their eyes. Zichen walked forward. The 10 of them could only follow, looking dejected. Walking to the entrance of the cave, Zichen picked up a piece of firewood and used it as a torch. The others followed suit and followed Zichen. Entering the mine, Zichen was actually very familiar with this place. It was a walk in the park for him. After going in for a while, Zichen turned around and looked at these people. "If you don't want to die here, stay here and wait." Everyone quickly nodded. They obviously did not dare to go in deeper. Zichen went in alone. The others heaved a sigh of relief. As long as they did not explore, it would be fine. After a while, a second strength state suddenly said, "We've been tricked." Everyone else was stunned. He must have a big secret to be able to find the kill crystal. He didn't let us follow because he was worried that we would discover his secret. The second strength state said, he's not worried about our lives at all. He's just afraid of exposing his secret. He's afraid that once we know his secret, he'll lose his advantage. It can't be, right? That killing intent is so terrifying. Who would dare to go near? One of them said, Henry, you're overthinking it. That Zi Chen has no grudge against us. He just doesn't want us to die. You're really stupid. You also said that we have no grudge against him. Then why would he save us? Henry pointed at the crowd and said, you idiots are really stupid. After saying that, the other party immediately turned back and went to Eddie to tell on him. After hearing Henry's words, Eddie also looked suspicious. He looked at the others. What do you think? Todd said, maybe it's really possible. Hanlu nodded. Zi Chen can even trick a fourth strength state spellbreaker to death. Naturally, he's not a kind person. He's doing this because he doesn't want his secret to be discovered. Henry said, Sir is wise. He's so cautious. He must know that the secret can be shared. Once we find out, he'll lose his advantage. Henry was full of confidence. That's the only way to explain why he wants us to stay. Eddie took out 5 strands of energy and threw them to Henry. Well done. Now go back and wait. When he comes out, you must follow him. Sir, don't worry. Henry turned back again. The others were waiting here. When they saw the happy Henry return, they all asked about the situation. Henry took out 5 strands of energy and said proudly, Sir also believes that Zi Chen has evil intentions, so he gave me these strands of energy as a reward. Now, we just need to follow Zi Chen. When we discover the secret to obtaining the kill crystal, we'll naturally have endless benefits. When the others heard this, they were all very excited. However, there were still a few people who were skeptical. After half a day, Zi Chen walked back and glanced at the crowd. Henry said, Where's the kill crystal you found? Zi Chen glanced at him. How can the kill crystal be so easy to find? It's good enough that you're still alive. After saying this, he walked out. The others followed behind him. From tomorrow onwards, we'll follow you. Wherever you go, we'll follow. Don't think of shaking us off, Henry continued. Zi Chen was stunned. He turned around and looked at Henry. This is Sir's idea. If you have any objections, you can go to Sir. Henry looked straight at Zi Chen. I have no objections. I'm sure you have no objections. Henry sneered. After Zi Chen returned, he told Henry that he had found nothing. This kind of thing was based on luck, so they weren't in a hurry. The next day, Zi Chen entered the mine again. This time, the 10 people followed him. After entering the mine, Zi Chen led them down. 2 of them looked at each other and asked, Can we continue to stay here? Zi Chen turned around and glanced at the 2 of them. He was a little surprised. Can we stay here? They asked again. There was hope in their eyes. Obviously, they believed in Zi Chen, so they didn't dare to go too deep. Zi Chen nodded. Henry smiled disdainfully at the 2 of them. You're destined to be mediocre for the rest of your lives. Zi Chen didn't say much. He led them forward with familiarity. Chapter 50-34. Henry followed behind Zi Chen. He seemed to have become the leader of this small team. The others followed behind. Everyone had the same goal, which was to find Zi Chen's secret and then have a greater say. As for Zi Chen's life and death after finding the secret, they did not care. Zi Chen held a torch and was familiar with the way. After yesterday's exploration, he had already made some discoveries. He originally planned to go and take a look today, but he did not expect to attract so many people. It seemed that he could not be so kind. These people were not worth it. Zi Chen suddenly laughed. What are you laughing at? Henry asked, What's so happy that you want to share? Zi Chen said, I'm laughing. After all, you used to be a big shot, but now you're reduced to this. This was Zi Chen's heartfelt sigh. After all, he was the lord of a world. Although he did not dare to say that he was followed everywhere, he was still a big shot. Now, he was reduced to this. He wondered what Monk and the others would think when they found out. You're a big shot. Henry curled his lips and said disdainfully, No matter what you used to be, in this place, you're nothing. Zi Chen suddenly stopped. What are you doing? Henry looked at Zi Chen and said coldly, don't play tricks. Zi Chen continued forward. He had already felt the killing intent in front of him. He had subconsciously stopped just now to warn the others, but in the end, he gave up. Zi Chen walked into the mine and was met with a murderous aura. Henry and the others followed behind and almost bumped into the killing intent. Puff, 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 the killing intent immediately passed through their bodies, leaving big holes one after another. At this moment, they were stunned and did not react at all. By the time they noticed the abnormality, it was already too late. Zi Chen stood in front, motionless. All the killing intent near him disappeared on its own. The remaining murderous intent bypassed Zi Chen and charged toward the others. Screams continuously sounded. Zi Chen turned around and quietly looked at them struggling. Save me. Zi Chen, save me. 3 big holes appeared on Hanel's body. He cried for help in horror. There was energy in both his hands. But it was useless. My original intention was to let you live, but you chose to die. Zi Chen looked at them and sighed helplessly. In the face of such killing intent, even a 4th strength realm lawbreaker would die, let alone a 2nd strength realm cultivator. Zi Chen stood there and watched silently as the blood-curdling screams continued. Until the last one disappeared. Shua. The slaughter spirit appeared and devoured all the killing intent in this place. Zi Chen turned around and walked into the mine. There were killing crystals here, but after sorting them out, there were only 3 pieces. Zi Chen placed the 3 kill crystals aside and began to cultivate. He didn't have the opportunity to do so outside, but now that he was in this place, there was no one to disturb him. After the energy of the martial crystals was absorbed by his heart last time, Zi Chen clearly felt that his heart was beating faster. And every once in a while, a wisp of energy would enter his body. This energy could strengthen his strength. This was the key to Zi Chen's breakthrough. After a day, Zi Chen hid the 2 killing crystals, took one out, and walked outside. At the entrance, he saw the 2 people sitting against the wall. When the 2 saw Zi Chen, they immediately stood up and looked behind Zi Chen. Where or are they? One of them asked softly. Dead. Zi Chen said indifferently, when encountering killing intent, even 10 lives won't be enough. Zi Chen walked forward, and the 2 followed behind. They looked at each other and saw a hint of relief in each other's eyes. The 8 people were dead, and they obviously didn't care about the 2 of them. No matter how the 8 people died, the 2 of them made the right choice. Zi Chen walked out of the cave and saw many people gathered around. The sky was already dark, and the torches were burning. Eddie heard the commotion and came over. When he saw Zi Chen and the others, he was stunned. Where are the others? Dead, Zi Chen replied. Did you find anything? Eddie didn't ask about the cause of death. Zi Chen took out a kill crystal. I only found this one. Eddie's eyes lit up, and he immediately reached out to take it. He held the kill crystal in his hand and looked at it carefully. Zi Chen turned and walked away. Eddie didn't stop him. The 2 of them didn't leave. After Zi Chen returned, Eddie began to ask the 2 of them what they encountered. The 2 of them answered truthfully and didn't lie. After Eddie heard this, he frowned. He waved his hand gently, and the 2 of them quickly bowed and left. Todd and Han Lu walked over. The 2 of them had heard the conversation. Han Lu asked, can they be trusted? Eddie sneered. They wouldn't dare to lie even if they had more guts. Could it be that Zi Chen is the only one who can get that kill crystal? Todd was a little unwilling to accept this. Eddie glanced at him as if he was looking at an idiot. If everyone could get it, kill crystals would be everywhere. Look at this. Is this something an ordinary person can get their hands on? Eddie tossed the kill crystal to him. What about tomorrow? Todd asked again. Let Zi Chen go in alone. Obviously, under such circumstances, no matter how many people they sent in, they would be courting death. That night, Zi Chen stayed in his room to cultivate. During this time, he was constantly refining the energy. Early the next morning, still no one came to pay him. Zi Chen didn't ask for it either. However, before he could enter the mine, the female spellbreaker appeared again. She held a long whip in her hand and hit Zi Chen again. She said that she was teaching Zi Chen how to behave. Zi Chen didn't resist. He walked into the mine with his injured body. No one was following him anymore. He could move freely. For most of the day, Zi Chen stayed in the mine and cultivated. He spent the rest of the time looking for kill crystals. For the next 3 days, Zi Chen didn't find anything. On the 4th day, the female spellbreaker vented her anger on Zi Chen again. Eddie and the others didn't look too good either. They even threatened Zi Chen that if he still couldn't find kill crystals, he would die. Gavin took the opportunity to kick Zi Chen to the ground. On this day, Zi Chen found more than 20 kill crystals. However, he only took one out. In the next few days, Zi Chen would take out 1 kill crystal every once in a while. Sometimes, he would take out 2 kill crystals. The number of kill crystals he had hoarded was also increasing. His purpose for hoarding kill crystals was very simple. It was to kill. He wanted to kill all 4 of them in one fell swoop. Time passed. A month had passed. Zi Chen took out 8 kill crystals. This made them very happy. However, they were still not satisfied. They urged Zi Chen to speed up. Otherwise, they would kill him. They were constantly threatening Zi Chen with their lives. Zi Chen entered the mine again. When he arrived, he found 3 baskets and began to fill them with kill crystals. He filled 3 baskets. After that, Zi Chen walked out with 1 in each hand and 1 on his back. Chapter 50-35. There was a limit to a person's patience after all. Zi Chen lamented many times. He used to be an overlord, but he was reduced to such a state. During this period of time, he had become a punching bag. Those who were in the 4th strength realm would vent their anger on him whenever they were in a bad mood. Especially that female spellbreaker. Not only did she snatch his whip, but she also attacked him repeatedly. Zi Chen was never one to take things lying down. From the beginning, he wanted to fight back. He thought he could break through earlier, but the difficulty of advancing to the 3rd strength realm was beyond his imagination. Therefore, he did not wait any longer. He gathered enough kill crystals and fought back. Although the 4th strength realm was scary, it was not to the point where he could ignore killing intent. Every time Eddie took the kill crystals from him, he was very careful. There were many people guarding here, but no one came in. Everyone was waiting for him to find the kill crystals. On this day, Zi Chen came out with enough kill crystals. At the entrance of the cave, everyone was shocked when they saw this. After so long, many people already knew that the kill crystals were really good stuff. Each piece was priceless. Now that they suddenly saw so many kill crystals, their eyes were wide open. How long had he been in there, and he had already gained so much? A few of them wanted to go forward. However, when they saw Zi Chen, they suddenly stopped. That was because there was something wrong with Zi Chen today. His eyes were shining, and his body was filled with confidence. This was completely different from the dispirited look he had before. Moreover, in their perception, the current Zi Chen seemed to be full of danger. You gained something again? Eddie immediately walked forward. That's right, and there are quite a few. Zi Chen put the baskets in his left and right hands on the ground. Seeing this, Eddie's eyes immediately lit up. Even his breathing quickened. There are so many. There were 3 baskets of kill crystals, which could be close to 1,000. If this was brought to Spellbreaker City, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. At this moment, Zi Chen took out 2 pieces and said with a smile, "Sir, please continue to examine them." He tossed the 2 kill crystals out. "Be careful. Can you bear the responsibility if they break? Even if I kill you, I won't be able to pay for it." Eddie immediately looked unhappy and reached out to grab the killing crystal. Pa! The killing crystal suddenly exploded in front of him. The killing intent contained within it immediately appeared and rushed toward Eddie. Such an unforeseen event caused Eddie's expression to change greatly, and he immediately retreated. At the same time, the wooden saber in his hand slashed out horizontally. The wooden saber glowed, and a murderous intent surged out from it, clashing with the murderous intent of the killing crystal. "Can't you be more careful?" Eddie roared. he could still withstand the energy of 2 killing crystals. At this moment, his vision blurred as he saw a dozen killing crystals flying towards him. Pa! 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 The killing crystal approached and then exploded. The murderous intent within it surged crazily and headed straight for Eddie. An uproar broke out in the surroundings, and the protectors immediately retreated. If the previous 2 fragments were just a coincidence, they could ignore it. However, the shattering of these crystals was clearly not a coincidence. Zichen was going to take revenge. They were only in the 2nd strength state, and facing the murderous intent would only lead to death, so they did not dare to get close. Moreover, after Zichen threw out the dozen killing crystals, he took out another 20. Each killing crystal was very precious, but in front of Zichen, they were like ordinary consumables. More than 20 killing crystals flew towards Eddie, directly aiming for his face. Pa! Pa! They exploded again. The murderous intent filled the air like a sharp sword, piercing through Eddie's body at a close distance. Even though he was in the 4th strength state, his body could not withstand the raging murderous intent. When the crowd saw this, they were even more frightened and retreated far away. You're courting death. Todd came and attacked Zichen from the side. Zichen sneered and said, I think you're the one courting death. With a wave of his hand, the 20 killing crystals flew out and exploded in front of Todd's face. At the same time, Zichen waved his hand again, and another dozen killing crystals flew behind him and exploded. Han Lu quietly followed and wanted to sneak an attack on him. Back then, it was Todd and Han Lu who took his basket of killing crystals. Not only did they not thank him, but they also asked Gavin to kill him. At the same time, Zichen looked at the woman in the distance, and a sarcastic smile flashed across his face. She came, but she did not dare to approach. Zichen grabbed the 20 killing crystals and threw them at her. The woman screamed and retreated. Rebellion, this is a complete rebellion. Gavin stood further away. After seeing Zichen, who was on the verge of madness, his face turned extremely pale. Zichen dared to scheme against someone in the 4th strength state, let alone Gavin. He hid in the dark and did not dare to appear again. Because if he did, he would die. During this period of time, he had embarrassed Zichen quite a bit. And from the looks of it, Eddie was probably in a bad situation. This was because Zichen had thrown nearly 100 killing crystals at him, and the murderous intent within them repeatedly pierced through his body. Now, Eddie was seriously injured and could not run away even if he wanted to. That woman, the spellbreaker, was scared away once again. She was too cautious. After noticing that something was wrong, she did not dare to approach. Speaking of which, the person Zichen should have killed the most was that B*TCH. Todd and Han Lu were already trapped by the killing crystals. It was only a matter of time before they died. Even more people were watching from afar. They watched as Zichen tossed out the precious kill crystals one by one as if they were worthless. The murderous intent swept across, and it was extremely terrifying. This time, everyone witnessed the danger in the mine with their own eyes. In the face of such a terrifying murderous intent, who could stop it? Many people had hatred in their hearts, and they secretly cursed that they deserved it. It was such a dangerous thing, but those people still wanted them to explore it. Now that they had encountered Zichen's revenge, it was naturally their retribution. Zichen was still throwing killing crystals out, and the sound of them being thrown out could be heard continuously. Help! Eddie let out a blood-curdling scream, and the murderous intent completely drowned him. After screaming, his body directly dissipated. One was dead. Then, Zichen turned around and looked at Todd and Han Lu. Their faces were full of horror, and they immediately retreated. Spare us. Zichen, spare us. The two began to beg for mercy. Zichen smiled coldly. It was impossible for him to spare their lives, so he continued to throw out killing crystals. Soon, the 2 baskets of killing crystals were gone. Zichen took out the killing crystals from behind him and kept throwing them at the 2. Nothing unexpected happened. The 2 screamed in succession, and their bodies could not take it anymore. They turned into light and dissipated. 3/4 strength realm cultivators were all dead. Zichen walked forward and came to the place where Eddie disappeared, and took away his wooden sword. This wooden sword had been refined with killing crystals, so its grade was not low. Zichen waved it around a few times, and it was very handy in his hands. Then, he looked around. Wherever he passed, the people around him changed, and did not dare to look at him. Where's that bitch? Chapter 5036. Thunder Marshal is not updated today. Please wait for a moment. After the content is updated, please refresh the page to get the latest update. Chapter 5037. Eddie and the other two had been killed by Zichen. Next would be the female spellbreaker. At this stage, Zichen did not need to be respectful to her. Everyone's expression changed when they heard him call her AB*TCH. The others looked around but could not find that woman. She had already run away when she saw that the situation was not good. That B*TCH fits her personality. Zichen's expression was cold as he looked around. He did not know where that B*TCH had run off to. It was difficult to find her. Where's Gavin? Zichen shouted, "Come out and see me." Gavin hid and did not dare to show himself. "Come out. Aren't you very capable?" Zichen's voice was cold. "I don't need these kill crystals. Do you dare to come out and fight with me?" A few days ago, Gavin had been using his connections to intimidate others. If it were not for those people, Zichen would have killed him long ago. Gavin heard this and did not dare to respond. "So, you're a coward." Zichen sneered and said, "Don't you feel ashamed following such a guy?" The others looked at Zichen and did not dare to say anything. Zichen had taken out 3 baskets of kill crystals, and there was still 1 basket left. It would not be a problem to kill them all. Zichen carried these kill crystals and walked forward. The others looked at Zichen, not knowing what he was going to do. Zichen looked around. "Gavin, I know you're here. Do you dare to come out? Whoever tells me where that idiot Gavin is will be rewarded with 10 kill crystals." Zichen walked and said to the crowd, "And 1,000 energy rays." This reward was tempting, but everyone doubted whether Zichen would fulfill his promise. Moreover, Gavin had ruled them for a long time. His power was still there, so no one dared to say anything. "Gavin, come out. Crawl out is fine. I'll give you a handicap with 1 hand. Do you dare to fight with me?" Zichen spoke again and again, his gaze sweeping around like cold lightning. Gavin was hiding somewhere and refused to appear. Zichen planned to leave with these kill crystals. At this moment, the female spellbreaker ran back in his field of vision. He sneered, "Bitch, didn't you run away?" As he spoke, Zichen immediately took out the killing crystal from behind him and rushed towards his opponent. Before they even arrived, Shojing had already flown ahead. Pa! Pa! The killing crystal exploded, and a murderous aura swept out. There was a hint of fear in the woman's eyes, but she didn't run away. Instead, she stared at Zichen and said resentfully, "Stinky thing, you will definitely die today. Bitch, come at me if you dare." Zichen waved his hand, and a dozen crystals flew out. Naturally, he was not afraid. Even the 3 Strength Realm and 4 Strength Realm cultivators had been tricked to death by him, so he naturally didn't care about this one. Suddenly, Zichen's expression changed. He sensed that something was wrong and immediately retreated. While he was retreating, he saw a person rushing towards him from the corner of his eye. The opponent was very fast and was approaching him quickly. Zichen did not hesitate to throw out his killing crystals. He threw out dozens of them at once. Pa! 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 The kill crystals kept exploding, forming a murderous aura that separated the 2 parties. Zichen ran and threw out kill crystals at the same time. At this moment, he didn't care about anything. The kill crystals kept exploding. The female spellbreaker shouted from behind, "Stinky thing, didn't you want to kill me? Why are you running? Bitch, just you wait. I will kill you." Zichen didn't want to lose. He cursed, "Just you wait. I will kill you sooner or later." With a bang, Zichen threw away the basket and the last dozens of kill crystals to the side. There was a murderous aura. He couldn't see who it was at all, but it was very strong. The opponent didn't seem to be afraid of the murderous aura. At the very least, she didn't seem to want to run away. Instead, she was still moving forward. "You're just in the second realm and you dare to talk so arrogantly. I want to see what you have." A voice full of energy came from the opposite side of the murderous aura. "Bitch, is this your lover?" Zi Chen was not afraid at all. He shouted, "You've already killed one lover. Are you going to kill another one now? Go to hell." The female spellbreaker screamed in anger. "Bitch, you're courting death." A strong aura appeared and dispersed the murderous aura. In a hurry, Zi Chen saw that there were 5 strands of energy surrounding the opponent. This gave him a shock. He held the wooden saber tightly in his hand and threw out the rest of the kill crystals. "Zi Chen, don't run if you dare. I'll wait for you here." Gavin ran out from the dark and shouted at Zi Chen. "Grandson, just you wait. When I come out, I'll kill you too, you bitch." Zi Chen sped up again. He felt a chill behind him and rushed into the cave. Boom. The energy vibrated and the cave shook as if it was about to collapse. Zi Chen disappeared into the cave. The middle-aged man who came later looked ahead with an ashen face. He was in the 5th realm, but he could not kill a mere 2nd realm. The female spellbreaker also came forward. Her pretty face was also ugly. "This bastard, I must kill him. That kid is too cunning. I didn't expect him to hide so many kill crystals." Gavin also took the opportunity to come and said angrily, "It's a pity that the 3 masters were killed by such a despicable person." The middle-aged man was in the 5th realm. He looked at the dark cave and frowned. "Master, are you going in?" Gavin saw and immediately said, "It's dirty and messy inside. I'm afraid it will dirty your clothes." The 5th realm said, "It's not difficult to kill him. Do you have a map of this place?" Gavin shook his head awkwardly. "No one has recorded it. If you insist, I can find someone to lead the way." "Forget it. We don't know what's going on inside. Let's just wait outside." The female spellbreaker said, "In there, energy is constantly being consumed. He can't stay down there forever." Gavin did not tell her that Zi Chen had a lot of energy. It would not be a problem even if he stayed for a few more months. He could see that the 5th realm did not really want to go in because he could not ignore the killing intent. The killing intent from before had injured him, but he was deliberately suppressing it. That's right. That kid has consumed a lot of energy during this period. Even if he has some left, he probably won't have much left. Gavin, who had observed the situation, said, "As long as we wait here, that kid will definitely die." At the same time, Gavin said, "Go and guard the other cave entrances. Once you find Zi Chen's trace, come and report immediately." Everyone nodded and immediately retreated. Zi Chen ran back into the cave. This time, he was in big trouble. The other party must be guarding outside. If he could not reach the 3rd realm, he would have to stay here for the rest of his life. Why is there a 5th realm? Chapter 5038. In the mine, Zi Chen was on high alert at first, worried that the other party would come in. After all, it was a 5 strengths realm, which was not something he could fight against. However, after waiting for a while and seeing that the other party did not come in, he was relieved. However, when he thought of the other party's 5 strengths realm, his face turned ugly. He thought that with 3 baskets of crystals, he could be the boss after he got out. After killing Eddie and the other 2, and after the female spellbreaker ran away, he was even more confident. However, he did not expect that a 5 strengths realm would come in the blink of an eye. People outside had never seen such a person before. Why would he come to such a remote place? Zi Chen could not figure it out, and he was very depressed. In fact, it was because Zi Chen did not know how precious the kill crystal was. How wasteful it was to use the kill crystal as a hidden weapon. If some people in Dharma-shattering city knew about this, they would definitely come out in groups with weapons to kill him. Infusing the kill crystal into the weapon would greatly increase its power. Moreover, infusing the weapon with killing intent would make the power permanent. Who would use it as a hidden weapon? Picking up a basket from the side, Zi Chen continued his journey of looking for kill crystals. No matter what, it was never wrong to accumulate some kill crystals. The 5 strengths realm was in charge of investigating this place, and he happened to be here today, but he did not expect to meet Sang Larry, who was running away. If Zi Chen had attacked earlier, he would not have met the 5 strengths realm. Beside the bonfire, Sang Larry explained the situation here. The 5 strengths realm said, "So there are a lot of kill crystals here." Sang Larry nodded. From the way Zi Chen calculated the kill crystals they took out, it was indeed so. When she thought of this, she was filled with hatred. During this period, Zi Chen had only taken out a dozen kill crystals. Who would have thought that he had kept so many for himself? The 5 strengths realm frowned. "If that's the case, then we need to bring this news back and see what the arrangements are. After all, in the outer area, such a large kill crystal mine has never appeared before." Sang Larry immediately said, "Then I'll go back and tell you." She obviously did not dare to stay here alone. If that 5 forces realm cultivator returned and Zi Chen came out, she would have no chance of survival. "This is no small matter. You must tell us the truth," the 5 strengths realm said. "Don't worry, I will definitely pass on the message." The woman left. Even though there was a 5 powers realm cultivator in charge, she was still worried that Zi Chen would suddenly attack. If there were a few more baskets of killing crystals, even a 5 forces realm cultivator might not be able to block it. Gavin wanted to leave, but he didn't dare to. He could only stay here. Underground, Zi Chen planned to stay for a long time, so he had been looking for killing crystals and cultivating. Zi Chen didn't know if it was because his mood had relaxed, but he felt that his progress seemed to have become faster. On the night of the 2nd day, Zi Chen, who was sitting cross-legged in cultivation, suddenly surged with energy. Then, as the energy surged, a force emerged from his body. 3 strength state. This realm came so suddenly that Zi Chen couldn't believe it. One must know that earlier, he had been bitterly cultivating and refining energy non-stop. But in these 2 days, because he knew that he would have to fight a long battle, he didn't even refine the energy. He didn't expect that he would have a breakthrough. His heart was beating violently. Every time, a part of the energy would surge out and pour into his body. Zi Chen was surprised. His face was filled with surprise and disbelief. Happiness came so suddenly. He stood up and clenched his fists. He felt that his strength had greatly increased. Together with his bone staff and the massacre spirit, he was confident that he could kill a 4 strength state cultivator. But soon, the smile on Zi Chen's face disappeared. Because his enemy was no longer a 4 strength state cultivator, but a 5 strength state cultivator. Compared to him, who was a 3 strength state cultivator, it was 2 levels higher. How could he fight? Zi Chen thought for a while. Maybe he could fight, but before that, he had to collect enough killing crystals. He didn't believe that the opponent could ignore the killing crystals. Otherwise, he would have killed his way in. He must be worried about the environment here. This was a kill crystal mine, but as Zi Chen continued to search, there were fewer kill crystals here, and there were not as many as before. Maybe if he continued to dig deeper, he would find something. Zi Chen obviously didn't have the patience or the energy to do so. The massacre spirit was like a ray of light. It moved underground and sometimes broke into the ground. It absorbed the killing intent to help Zi Chen search. Zi Chen wasted a lot of killing crystals. But compared to the killing intent, it was less than 1%. Every time he dug for killing crystals, there would be a lot of killing intent. But the killing intent would be devoured by the massacre spirit. Therefore, during this period of time, the growth of the spirit of massacre was very obvious. Zi Chen started to search for killing crystals without rest. The massacre spirit also started to assist him. Zi Chen only used 5 days to find 3 baskets of killing crystals. But compared to last time, the killing crystals this time were not uniform. They were of different sizes. Some of them were even as big as a human head. Zi Chen obviously didn't care about that. It was inappropriate for him to stay in the mine. After preparing the killing crystals, he carried the 3 baskets of killing crystals out. In order to be careful, he ran out from another exit. After coming out, Zi Chen ran away like crazy. As soon as he came out, he was noticed by the people guarding the entrance. Someone immediately went to report. Zi Chen was still running. As he ran, he threatened, "Whoever dares to follow me, I will kill him." Seeing that Zi Chen was carrying so many killing crystals, everyone had to stop and didn't dare to follow. Zi Chen ran while looking for a suitable place to fight. Whether he lived or died, it all depended on this fight. After the 5 strength realm heard the news, he immediately rushed over. Then, he saw Zi Chen running away. Zi Chen didn't run fast because he was carrying killing crystals. The 5 strength realm snorted. So you broke through. No wonder you are so bold. But do you think you can run away like this? He leaped forward, his speed much faster than Zi Chen's. When the others saw this, they didn't dare to follow and could only watch from afar. At this moment, Zi Chen's figure turned and disappeared from a high ground. The 5 strength realm followed him. Then, they heard a rumbling sound. Boom, boom, boom. That was the sound of killing crystals exploding. It was like a series of claps of thunder, continuous. The high ground was shaking. Countless killing intents flashed back and forth. Everyone only dared to stand in the distance and watch the killing intents sweep over. No one dared to approach. During this time, the 5 strength realm cried out in alarm. Zi Chen stood there as he tossed out 3 baskets of killing crystals in one go. The killing intent spread and attacked the 5 strength realm. The 5 strength realm's body was shining, but it could only block a portion of the killing crystals. The remaining killing intent pierced through his body. The 5 strength realm was injured. But he wasn't afraid of the injury at all. He laughed sinisterly and rushed toward Zi Chen. Kid, die. He came in front of Zi Chen. This sentence is for you. Chapter 5039. The 5 forces state was still unable to ignore the killing intent, but he still carried the killing intent and moved forward. His goal was simple, to resist the killing intent and kill Zi Chen with a slap. For a 5 strengths realm cultivator, it was not difficult for him to do this. However, what awaited him was not Zi Chen, who was at the mercy of others. Instead, it was the bone stick that smashed him. The bone stick carried a powerful aura. The 5 strength state cultivator's face changed, and he immediately raised his hand to block. Boom! A powerful force surged, and the 5 strength state cultivator was pushed back. He looked at the bone stick in Zi Chen's hand and was shocked. This is a bone weapon. Zi Chen smiled and said, that's right. Whoosh! The slaughtering spirit appeared. Like a real lightning, it instantly pierced through the 5 strength state cultivator's head. Its speed was unimaginably fast. The killing intent raged wildly, and the surrounding temperature seemed to have dropped a lot. The 5 strength state cultivator let out a scream, and his expression was even more shocked. He did not expect that a 3rd strength state cultivator would have so many strange items. Puff! The slaughtering spirit quickly turned back, shuttling back and forth, and opened another wound on the 5 strength state cultivator's head. At the same time, Zi Chen held the bone stick in his hand, and continuously smashed it down. Boom! 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 It was like thunder, and the sound was endless. The people in the distance did not dare to come closer, and they were all shocked when they heard the sounds. As expected of a 5 strength state cultivator, his attacks are comparable to thunder. This time, Zi Chen is dead. This kid is too arrogant. He's just a 2nd strength state cultivator, and he dares to challenge a 5 strength state cultivator. He seems to be a 3rd strength state cultivator. Did he break through? So fast. So what? He's still going to die. No one dared to come forward, and they could only listen to the sounds. Their words showed that they were not optimistic about Zi Chen's chances. Thinking about it, how could a 3rd strength state cultivator fight against a 5 strength state cultivator? That reckless guy dares to come out. Jiao Wen walked over, looked into the distance, and said indifferently, unfortunately, I can't kill him with my own hand. They looked at Gavin, not daring to speak. The other party only dared to say that because he knew that Zi Chen was about to die. Back when Zi Chen was at the 2nd force state, Gavin was so scared that he did not dare to come out, let alone now. If Zi Chen appeared again, Gavin would definitely run away with his tail between his legs. Of course, that would never happen. Zi Chen was dead for sure. Right at that moment, cries of surprise rang out from all around. That was because a person had walked out from that place. The reason why they were so surprised was because it was Zi Chen who walked out. Not the 5 strength state. How could this be? Everyone was stunned as they looked ahead in disbelief. Where is that 5 strengths realm master? Could he have been killed by Zi Chen? Everyone discussed spiritedly, feeling that it was inconceivable. How is that possible? A mere 2nd Force Realm warrior can kill a 5th Force Realm warrior? Gavin said disdainfully, it must be because he is still useful to my lord, so he didn't kill him. This explanation was obviously very reasonable. No one would think that Zi Chen could kill a 5-strength state warrior. However, a 5-strength state warrior could easily kill Zi Chen. Zi Chen was able to find the killing crystal, so he was still very useful. Just when everyone thought that what Gavin said was very reasonable, Zi Chen suddenly rushed forward. He sped up with a cold smile on his face. Humph, are you trying to scare me? If you dare to come over, I will dare to kick you. Gavin snorted coldly with a disdainful expression. With his lord here, even if he kicked Zi Chen to death, Zi Chen would not dare to retaliate. Zi Chen was getting faster and faster, but the 5-strength state master did not come out. Gavin's expression changed and he started to panic. He did not believe that a 5-strength state warrior would die, but he felt that the two of them might have just reached an agreement. This agreement might be to kill him. After all, Zi Chen had already reached the 3rd strength state and was qualified to be the leader. Furthermore, he could find the killing crystal, so he was naturally more useful. Guessing this, he turned and ran. Don't run if you dare. Zi Chen sneered and sped up again, charging towards Gavin. Stop him, Gavin shouted as he ran. No one dared to stop him. Not to mention that Zi Chen did not have the killing crystal, no one dared to stop him because he was in the 3rd strength state. Gavin's speed was obviously not as fast as Zi Chen. However, Zi Chen was not in a hurry and allowed him to keep running. He did not want to reveal his trump cards now. Zi Chen, did you reach an agreement with the Lord? Gavin shouted as he ran. Let me go, I can give you the position of leader. Zi Chen sneered and did not reply. We have no enmity between us, why do you have to do this? I can be your assistant from now on. I know how to get the most out of you without being discovered by the people inside. Gavin looked behind him and realized that their speed was about the same. As long as he had enough energy, Zi Chen would not be able to catch up. I know how to do it myself. Zi Chen's voice was cold. He was obviously trying to confuse him. It's different. There are techniques. Also, I've been here for so many years and am familiar with the process. Even if you want to be the leader, you'll need some time to get used to it. Let me go, and I'll be your underling from now on. How about that? Zi Chen said disdainfully. Do you think you're worthy? Zi Chen, don't go too far. At most, we'll fight to the death and perish together, Gavin suddenly said sternly. If you had the ability, you wouldn't be running. Zi Chen followed behind. Why don't you stand there and talk to me? Zi Chen, don't go too far. Gavin's face turned ashen. If the Lord can spare your life today, he can take it away in the future. One more friend means one more path. Why should one more enemy? Who's the Lord you're talking about? Zi Chen, listen to my advice and eat your fill. Let's not talk about other things. Take my connections in Pofa City as an example. If you offend me, you won't have a good life in the future. At this moment, Gavin suddenly stopped and looked at Zi Chen. Zi Chen was surprised. Why don't you run? There's no one else here. I'll be honest with you. I can give you the position of the leader, but you still need my help. Otherwise, you can't get the resources from Pofa City, Gavin said confidently. There's no grudge between you and me. I believe you know what to choose in front of great benefits. Zi Chen curled his lips. You think you're so smart. This is called seeking truth from facts. If you kill me, how will you contact Pofa City? Why should they give you resources? Gavin patted his chest and said, but I can. After so many years, I didn't use my connections for nothing. Like I said, the Lord needs you now, so he'll spare your life. When he doesn't need you anymore, you'll die. Are you talking about that 5 Forces Realm warrior? Zi Chen smiled. If I tell you that he's dead, will you believe me? Impossible. You. Gavin didn't believe him. Zi Chen suddenly sped up and approached Gavin. He's waiting for you on the road to the underworld. You can ask him for more details later. A palm fell. Chapter 50-40. Gavin, from the beginning to the end, did not believe that a 5-strength state cultivator had died. Hence, he firmly believed that Zi Chen did not dare to kill him and wanted to negotiate with Zi Chen. The light crossed and Gavin's body disintegrated. After falling to the ground, it turned into light and disappeared. Gavin's expression froze. He did not expect that Zi Chen would kill him so decisively. Of course, Zi Chen would not show mercy to Gavin. After all, he had killed a 5-strength state cultivator. He had long since become an enemy of some people in Dharma-shattering city. He turned around and planned to leave. Suddenly, his expression changed slightly. Because at the place where Gavin disappeared, a sparkling light flashed. Upon closer inspection, it was a ring. What's this? Zi Chen bent down and picked it up. This kind of thing had never appeared in this world before. Zi Chen tried to input some energy and immediately sensed the abnormality in it. He opened his mouth in shock. There was energy inside, a lot of energy. There were so many that Zi Chen could not count them. He estimated that there were tens of thousands of them. Obviously, this was Gavin's private stash. Over the years, he had accumulated a terrifying amount of energy. Such a huge amount was really shocking. Zi Chen felt good when he obtained more than 1,000 energy streams. However, the energy he obtained this time was dozens of times more than what he had before. Zi Chen immediately put the ring on his finger. Now, he did not have to worry about the energy consumption. In addition, what made Zi Chen happy was that this ring was obviously a storage space. Perhaps it had other uses. Thus, he walked back to the mine. Under the astonished gazes of the crowd, he picked up a wooden stick and walked into the mine. As soon as he entered the mine, he tried to put away the wooden stick. He succeeded. His guess was right. This ring was indeed an item from this world. It could store things here at will. Hence, Zi Chen quickly entered the mine again. This time, he found a killing crystal and put it away. This made him very surprised. He had tried many times before, but he could not put away these killing crystals. Hence, he could only put them in a basket. Who would have thought that he would actually keep it? If it were not for the kill crystals, Zi Chen would not have been able to kill the 5 forces realm. Therefore, Zi Chen planned to get more kill crystals in case he needed them. He didn't have much time, so he had to speed up. After staying here for 2 days and 2 nights, Zi Chen collected some kill crystals and left through another exit. There were people guarding the place, but after seeing Zi Chen, no one dared to speak. They just watched as Zi Chen left. For this trip, Zi Chen had no purpose. Obviously, he couldn't look for Miao Pengfei. Otherwise, he would implicate him. In that case, he could only move forward aimlessly. Wherever he went, he would go. When night fell, Zi Chen lit a bonfire and sat alone beside it in a daze. Suddenly, Zi Chen felt a gust of wind. He immediately turned around and saw a ghostly figure not far away. Vanishing shadow beast. The other party stood in the distance and looked at Zi Chen. Zi Chen's eyes lit up. Immortal spiritual eye. Under the immortal spiritual eye, Zi Chen saw the other party's body. It was like a shadow, swaying in front of him. But he was sure that it was a real figure. It just looked illusory. Only he could see it. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't be able to see it. Swoosh. The slaughter spirit appeared and flew straight towards the other party. Poof. The slaughter spirit pierced through the ghostly figure's body. The ghostly figure struggled for a while, and a hole appeared in its body. Then, it turned into light and disappeared. Zi Chen was stunned. He wasn't sure if the other party was dead or had run away. The vanishing shadow beast disappeared. Under the immortal spiritual eye, he saw a group of law-breaking beasts rushing towards him. Zi Chen sat beside the bonfire and quietly watched the law-breaking beasts approach. Swoosh. After reaching the attack range, the slaughter spirit attacked. It turned into a stream of light and moved forward. With a strong killing intent, it pierced through the bodies of the law-breaking beasts. Pu. 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 None of the law-breaking beasts could escape. They all died. And Zi Chen didn't get any new energy. This might be related to the increase of his cultivation level. He had too much energy, so he didn't care about this at the moment. The sky brightened. Zi Chen continued forward. Along the way, when he encountered some mountains, he would deliberately avoid them. This was because he might run into other miners who would reveal his whereabouts. After all, this was still an area under Kevin's control. A few days later, Solali returned with the latest news. The higher-ups valued this place and wanted to increase their efforts to develop it. But what she learned was the death of a 5-strength realm cultivator. This made her extremely frightened. She looked around vigilantly. A few days had passed, and Zi Chen was nowhere to be seen. Damn it! She was angry and had to return again. Since they were all dead, the news couldn't be reported. And this time, even a 5-strength realm cultivator was dead. They should pay more attention to Zi Chen. When she left, Solali was still very cautious. She was worried that Zi Chen would suddenly kill her. At this moment, Zi Chen was completely away from this place. He traveled day and night. After walking for more than half a month, he finally found a place to live. This place was very far from Pofa City. There were no mountains around, so naturally, there were no mineral veins. But there were people living here. Could it be a small town? Zi Chen's heart skipped a beat. He remembered the place where he and Miao Pengfei stayed. To be honest, living in that place was much better than here. At least, there was no worry. As Zi Chen approached, this place that could barely be called a small town, but was actually a village. Suddenly, there was a commotion. Then, many people walked out with sticks in their hands. They stood at the door and looked at Zi Chen cautiously. Zi Chen walked closer. Looking at the hostile crowd, he said, "Sorry, I'm lost. May I know where this place is?" "Stop acting. You're here to catch us." A strong man with a wooden saber snorted. He was a 2-strength realm cultivator. He looked at Zi Chen indifferently. Zi Chen was surprised. "Why would I want to catch you? You want to catch us and use us as cannon fodder. We won't fall for it." Another person said. "Leave. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude." Zi Chen looked at them. Their eyes were filled with fear and panic. Even if someone threatened them, they still forced themselves to say it. "If I'm here to catch you, will I come alone?" He glanced at the crowd. "Moreover, you don't deserve to be caught by a 3-strength realm cultivator, right?" Although Zi Chen's words were unpleasant, they were the truth.